Listen, you smell something?
Human emotions are materializing in the form of a viscous psychoreactive plasm with explosive supernormal potential.
What a discovery, a psychoreactive substance.
Do you know what this equipment is used for?
Boggle or Super Mario Brothers?
We'll have fun!
Yeah! They're still doing it. Really quite good work there.
My friend, don't be a jerk.
We've got no choice. Call the Ghostbusters.
Super Jackpot!
Welcome to Extraplasm Podcast. It's the only podcast on the internet that would have cosplayed at Dragon Con as the streaming paranormal investigation show Repossessed, but then it probably would have been banished from an Atlanta hotel for breaking too many things with a sledgehammer or for causing an incident, and perhaps it's better that it didn't go to Dragon Con at all. I'm your host, Jim Maritato, aka Vape Maniac on the internet, and I'm excited to be joining you for another episode of Talk About Ghosts and Ghostbusting. Joining us this week for a return visit to the Extraplasm Studios together are Jason Fitzsimmons from Ghostbusters News and Tony Taylor of Phantasm Shop and Phantasm Toys fame. And Tony and Jason, of course, you know, are recurring guests on Extraplasm, so much that Tony is sometimes called the de facto co-host of Extraplasm or the unofficial co-host of Extraplasm. And it was really great to have them both on to sort of jump into the guest chairs this week for a bit of a rousing discussion about everything that's been going on in the world of Ghostbusters, basically since San Diego Comic-Con. When you get down to it, I really haven't had a chance to talk with friends of the show about anything along the lines of Mondo figures or Halloween Horror Nights or anything else since basically July. I've had folks on the show in terms of, Steve Johnson, for instance, was on, but that was a canned interview that we had. And there's been a remastered episode and a mini-sode, but it's been a while since I've actually had the ability to sit down and chat with two of my friends about things that we all like. And so this week we're easing back into guest conversations with two friends of the show and two people who I really value for coming on and getting into this conversation this week. This is a fun conversation. It's also a haphazard conversation, I'll warn you now, where we just kind of got the opportunity to reconnect and chat about everything we've missed out on talking about. So it's really fun to get into, though, and I'm really excited to bring it to you this week. But before we can get into that conversation, we do need to get into the newest things that have happened. We need to cover some Ghostbusters headlines.
Still making headlines all across the country, the Ghostbusters are at it again.
Today, the entire eastern seaboard is alive with talk of incidents of paranormal activity.
On topic today, ghosts and ghost busting.
The Extraplasm, read all about it. Ghostbusters headlines coming at ya.
In official Ghostbusters news, some strange and exciting things are afoot over at the Ghostbusters Firehouse on the Sony lot. Ghost Corps has announced that they are offering an exclusive Ghostbusters VIP experience that's up for auction that happens at the Sony Pictures Studios. This is a charity buzz auction that's going to be providing proceeds to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. And this is pretty amazing. If you've been to the Sony lot before and taken the tour, it's always pretty cool. You get to go around the lot and you get to see different things like Jeopardy, and you get to see the Ecto-1 parked outside Ghost Corps. And if you're really, really lucky, your tour guide might even be Keith Coogan, who once upon a time said, "The dishes are done, man." But in this case, you would have a VIP tour of Ghost Corps headquarters, not just the Sony lot in general. And that tour would be guided by none other than Ghostbusters executive producer, previous Extraplasm guest, and recent birthday haver, Eric Reich. Happy birthday, Eric. This is a tour that includes unique perks like behind the scenes access, an opportunity to sort of have a meet and greet with Ecto-1, and basically like a pretty personal and up close look at Ghostbusters memorabilia and props. They are suggesting that this is going to be something that will be valued at about $2,310 over at Charity Buzz. At press time right now, the current bid is $2,025 with 12 days remaining. So I'm pretty sure it's going to exceed that estimated value. And beyond the fact that you get to be, have this personal experience that where Eric Reich is taking you about the Sony lot, you also are going to have the chance to stay at the Waldorf Astoria Beverly Hills with a 2-night stay in a superior room. You get lunch or dinner for two at the rooftop restaurant there. And you also get a lunch or dinner gift card with a value of $125 for Ronin, which is a high-end restaurant. So this is not just okay, you get to walk around the Sony lot and take some pictures. This is literally like a 2-day stay in Los Angeles at a top tier hotel in the middle of Beverly Hills, eating at some of the finest restaurants in the city. And then also you get to hang out with Eric Reich in quite possibly one of the most personalized and intimate ways that you could get Ghostbusters history ever. So this is an amazing opportunity. I absolutely think this will exceed its estimated value, given that we're like less than $300 away from that value with 12 remaining on this. But if you've got the funds and you want to have this kind of an individualized experience, this is a very cool thing to bid on. Now, on the other hand, if you're thinking, Jim, I don't have thousands of dollars to bid on the opportunity to hang out with Eric Reich on the Sony lot, well, I have a second piece of information for you about cool things that are happening over at the Ghostbusters Firehouse that are strange and exciting and that are afoot. And in this case, you might be able to get onto the VIP tour at Sony along with a $13,000 prize if you win a competition. The Face of Horror competition, which is hosted by charity fundraising platform Colossal, is offering horror fans a chance to win $13,000 and participate in a paranormal photo shoot with Kane Hodder. If you're not sure who that is, Kane Hodder is probably the most well-known of the actors who has played Jason in the Friday the 13th movies. And if you win that, you'll end up in a paranormal photo shoot with him in Rue Morgue magazine. Now, that sounds pretty cool, but the more important part for those of us who are Ghostbusters fans is that photo shoot will be with Kane Hodder and Ecto-1. In what essentially amounts to an online digital costume contest, competitors can upload cosplay photos of themselves to the Face of Horror website and then compete for votes on social media by relying on their network of followers and supporters to make more daily votes or to purchase donation votes that help that competitor. So those then purchase votes will benefit Starlight Children's Foundation. And as part of that event, the winner enjoys the VIP Ghostbusters experience, which will include a tour of Ghostbusters headquarters and a meet and greet, in this case with Jason Reitman. So you'll also get your photo op with the Ecto-1, as I discussed. But if you're actually paying for the 2,310 valued thing, apparently you won't meet Jason Reitman. But if you win 13 grand and you win a costume contest, you will meet Jason Reitman. I don't know. Maybe they both involve that, but at press time they don't. At least that's what we know from press releases. But this is still pretty damn cool. There's two really cool things that Ghost Corps is doing for charity benefit, where they're essentially creating VIP tours, which is really neat. Like, there's not new Ghostbusters media going on, but there's certainly a Sony lot there with everybody who makes Ghostbusters around. So it's really awesome to sort of see Eric and Jason and the folks over there taking these opportunities to set up some VIP tours and meet and greet things that in one case are going to benefit St. Jude Children's Hospital, and the other case is going to benefit Starlight Foundation, meaning it's going to benefit kids in other hospitals. And this is just very, very cool and very neat. And I'm kind of hopeful that we'll see more of this, like more opportunities for them to generate these VIP experiences with a charitable incentive, because there's not to be like down on it, but there's nothing to announce yet on Ghostbusters, so there's time to burn, right? So why not do that in a charitable way that keeps the franchise being talked about and continues to support people, especially kids in hospitals, in positive ways. So these are really cool events. I may not get to go to these, obviously, because I'm probably not going to win a costume contest right now, and I'm probably not going to outbid somebody, but to know that these things are going on is pretty cool. And I hope that the folks who get these experiences and have the chance to go do it have an outstanding experience. And who knows, maybe they'll want to come on an Extraplasm and talk about it. If that's you, if you're out there, let me know. Moving out of ways to find yourself on the Sony lot and inside the Ghost Corps Firehouse, and potentially a little richer if you win that $13,000, let's talk about a podcast appearance and interview that took place in the past week. In a recent interview with Jake Hamilton on his YouTube channel, Jake's Takes, Dan Aykroyd looked back on his career and touched briefly on the creation of Ghostbusters. He reminisced about co-writing the script with Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman and shared some thoughts on Reitman's passing and their long-running collaboration together. And he recalled how the trio of them worked on refining the Ghostbusters script in the basement of his Martha's Vineyard home. During the interview, Aykroyd explains, "I had originated the script and then we had one draft, and then it came time to really draft it for Murray and basically give the piece to him as our leading romantic star and to refine it. So, with an old Royal Electric typewriter, I locked myself, Ivan, and Harold in the basement of my house in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, because upstairs in the house is a spectacular view of the sound, the weather, and the trees. So I said, no, we're not going to look at that view. We're going to go downstairs where we can't see anything. And we basically refined it to come up with the shooting draft in those 2 weeks. That was so much fun." He then further reflected on Ivan Reitman's life and his absence at this point, suggesting, "I miss him a lot because I used to talk to him every week about what was going on with Ghost Corps and all that. And now his voice is missing in my life, and it's unfortunate." And to me, this is kind of odd to consider that, like, for many, many years over the course of the 40 years of Ghostbusters, this was an ongoing conversation that these two were having once a week about whatever's happening in Ghostbusters. And I'm sure there were periods where that wasn't true, where there wasn't so much in development. But the idea that Ivan and Dan were having a weekly conversation 40 years on, 30 years on, 25 years on, whatever it was from the original creation of Ghostbusters is something that's so shocking to me in a way, not where I'm like shocked in a bad way, but shocked to sort of understand that like they were that connected on what was happening with the franchise and making sure that they were all on the same page at different points over the course of these decades. That Dan Aykroyd has carried a torch for Ghostbusters forever. It was his idea. We know that Ivan was essentially an advocate for Ghostbusters before his passing for a long time. But to know that they were sort of on the same page, talking once a week, and being aware of each other's insights about this project and this product after so many years, this franchise had both of them, collaborating once a week. It's still kind of a crazy thing to think about and kind of neat. And it's also kind of sad because now it's something that doesn't really go on so much. But if you want to hear more about this, you can check out the full interview over on the YouTube channel Jake's Takes. It's about 30 minutes and discusses SNL, Ghostbusters, the Blues Brothers, and more. And it's definitely worth your time. Let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights news for a few moments. If you want to get a glimpse of the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire haunt experience that Universal has in store for attendees of its Orlando park, you can get a complete walkthrough at this point without setting foot in the state of Florida at all, which for some people is going to be like, wow, that's great. And for people like Matt Sanders, who's listening out there, I'm sorry, I know you live in Florida, and I still love you. Ghostbusters News has reported on a YouTube video from Attractions 360 that I won't really discuss in terms of content because I know some of you are trying to remain clean slates walking into the experience. But just know that it is out there if you want to see the full experience from start to finish. It's about 5.5 minutes, and that kind of gives you an idea of how long the actual walkthrough of the the haunted house is itself. And it definitely features different moments from Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. You will feel like you are inside scenes from that movie for sure. If you go out and get a chance to do this experience, for me, I will say that my one spoiler I'm going to give you so far is that perhaps my favorite moment watching it is that you will move through the Paranormal Research Center and the things that go on seem like utter chaos and so much fun. So I think this is pretty cool. There's a lot more in there. I really don't want to spoil it for you. So again, if you want to check that out, go over to the Attractions 360 channel on YouTube or head over to Ghostbusters News and take a look at Jason's content because he's done a good job of breaking down the video, pulling out stills, etc. And the video is embedded right in the article. Beyond the experience itself, there's an insane amount of merchandise that's now available for Universal for this event, and you can get a glimpse of all of that by heading over to Ghostbusters News, where Jason has been meticulously documenting it. There is so much stuff at this point, ranging across new shirts, sweatshirts, bags and backpacks, blankets, decal sheets, and more. So rather than me trying to list all of it to you, I am seriously going to suggest that right now, Ghostbusters News is your one-stop shop to see all of the items that are on hand. Especially because even if you wanted to go to the Universal Orlando Resort Store website to being like, hey, isn't that the one-stop shop? Not really. It's only the one-stop shop for some of these items. And to be frank, some of the most low-quality ones from the ones that I saw at City Walk here in Universal. The original hat is still, I'm going to say, I've said it on the podcast before, no good. The new Slimer hat is awesome, but it's not on the Resort Store website at all. So the place to see this stuff is probably going to be Ghostbusters News because Jason's got a lot of different photos coming in from different fans out there who've been to the park, etc. And if I haven't mentioned you because I'm sort of consolidating this under Jason's stuff and you submitted those photos, thank you. I don't mean to not mention you as much as can't even keep track at this point of how many people have contributed stuff to Jason's Universal coverage. So instead, I'm going to suggest people go over there where people are appropriately credited. You could see who contributed what, but it's definitely a lot of stuff that's out there. And to go along with the merchandise at this point, Universal has also prepared an assortment of delicious food items. Within the Universal Store, you can now find Stay Puft S'mores candy bars that I'm absolutely going to need, if not just to eat them, because I'm going to also unwrap them very carefully and then build a rectangle that's in the exact same shape of the candy bar out of Legos and then wrap that up inside the packaging so I can display it, because that's a reasonable, insane thing to do, right, everybody? At the concession stands, you're going to find a full menu of Ghostbusters-inspired options, including the mini puffed s'mores and Death Chill dipped bugle cheesecake dessert we talked about last week. But in addition to those items, you're also now going to find a Slimer's Korean corn dog, Something that Jason at Ghostbusters News describes perfectly, and I quote, as a cheesy delight covered in Fritos, coated in Cheetos powder, and spiced with ghost pepper, sage derby cheese, and mozzarella. So a lot of spice and a lot of cheese on the Slimer's Korean corn dog. Still not sure what makes it Korean. I have to be honest with you. But I'm a bad person to ask because I don't eat hot dogs or anything else like that. So I don't ask me about it. You're way better off asking me about the bugles that were on the Death Chill cheesecake we talked about last week. But rounding out the food options, there are also 2 boozy beverage choices you can make, including Garaka's Icy Breath, which apparently has honeydew syrup, lime juice, blue curacao, elderflower syrup, and a fluff marshmallow topping, or the Class 5 concoction, which has New Amsterdam vodka as a base mixed with Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, kiwi syrup, honeydew melon syrup, lime juice, vanilla bean essence, and yes, fluff marshmallow. So regardless of which of these 2 drinks you choose, don't worry, you're going to get your marshmallow fix. That being said, I am going to need to spend too much money on both of these drinks because I'm going to get them at the park where everything costs way too much. But I'm going to do so because they both sound delicious and because I'm going to need something to drink. Because if you've looked at the forecast for Hollywood's Universal Park in the next week, temperatures are expected to be in the triple digits during the day pretty much every day, with I think the high at 107 and remain pretty hot at night. This is also probably why, and brass tacks, aside from my pending travel to see my family, why it's probably going to be a few weeks before I might actually decide to venture over to Studio City, but I digress. Either way, these are 2 cool drinks. This is a really cool menu. The ectoplasmic drink is probably the one I'm a little more excited about, the one that's kind of slime themed and Class 5 themed. There's a lot more fruit flavors in there, and I'd rather drink a vodka based than blue curacao, but there's a lot of really cool things going on at Universal. They're really creating an opportunity for you to come out and be immersed in being part of Ghostbusters, whether it's the merchandise that you can buy, the actual experience inside the house, the things that you can eat and drink, etc. And so it's going to be very cool to go to the park and get to experience all of that when we get there. That being said, I'm probably going to go when it cools off a bit because I don't need to go have heat stroke after I have too many Class 5 concoctions. I believe that if you do, the ambulance shows up and they call that some sort of total protonic reversal. So moving out of Universal and Horror Nights news, let's talk for a few minutes about some quick merch items. Probably the thing I'm most excited about this week from Merchland, despite my having no legitimate reason whatsoever for me to be this excited about it, is that HalloweenCostumes.com has opened pre-orders on their 9-foot-tall inflatable firehouse decoration. You'll hear me and Jason and Tony talk about this in our conversation in a bit, so I'll try not to duplicate things for you here that you're about to hear. But know that if you've been thinking about picking up that inflatable firehouse with the front flaps that open and you can crawl inside of, or rather walk inside of because it's 9 feet tall, you can go and get that now, or rather pre-order it now for $349.99 over at HalloweenCostumes.com. It will arrive in October. I really want this because I want to camp inside of it, even though that is completely ridiculous. If you can't find the product on the page, hop over to Ghostbusters News to grab the pre-order link from Jason's article because it may be difficult to find as something that's not yet in stock on the Halloween Costumes website. We still don't know how long this thing is or how deep, but based on the photos, I firmly believe a go-kart will fit inside of it. And this makes me want it even more so that I can get our friend Greg the Ectotech Hilliard to build me a sick-ass Ecto-Kart complete with blue lights, a roof rack, and heat-seeking red turtle shells, and then recreate that awesome spin and turn out of the firehouse in my driveway repeatedly. I have absolutely no need for this thing, and I have recently kvetched about things I'm not buying because they're too expensive, but that doesn't change the fact that I really want this. If you're in the market though for 1/6 high-end action figures as opposed to expensive 9-foot-tall inflatable firehouses, then I can tell you where you can get yourself some awesome cinematic Ghostbusters in action figure form. Star Ace has revealed their forthcoming new set of 1/6 posable action figures. These are different from their 1/8 statues that already exist, which don't pose and are stuck in the forms they're in. So far, they have revealed that there's a Slimer 2.0 figure, a Winston Zedmore figure, and a Peter Venkman figure, and pre-orders for those are now available over on BigBadToyStore.com. The new Slimer figure is essentially a new version of the previous soft vinyl figure they put out, but in this case, there is a light-up LED base with a metallic ghost trap that it appears the light comes out of. And Slimer's arms are posable, so as opposed to being a vinyl figurine before, who you really couldn't do that much with, now he's got posable arms that are articulated. That's going to run you $149 for that new version of Slimer. The new figures really that are kind of brand new in terms of not a redesigned product rather, are the figures of Peter Venkman and Winston Zedmore. These are pretty cool, I gotta be honest. They have tailored fabric uniforms, light up proton packs, light up neutrona wands, which is different. Like, they not only do you have packs that light up and do something, but the neutrona wands also light up. And they have accessories, including the Venkman comes with a ghost sniffer. They get belt gizmos, they've got little fobs and all the things, and their uniforms are cloth, their belts are cloth, etc. If I had one complaint about these, it's that they have put a white plastic zipper on these flight suits as opposed to a metal one, which draws away from how good these figures otherwise look. They're going to run you $285 to $84.99 with an expected release in Q1 of 2025. So this is going to be a grab for somebody who wants to collect higher end figures. But I'll say this about these, I think it's kind of interesting to consider. As a set of 1/6 figures, you can go on the low end scale for 1/6 and look at Mattel's figures when they came out. And those were, pretty affordable. On the other side of the scale, you can look at things like Blitzway that cost way, way more money for something that has a cloth outfit and has all little props, etc. And the Matty option was really great when they did them because of that. They had cloth suits. They came with all the different props. There were so many ridiculous little pieces of 1/6 stuff that you can get. Taking those props and pairing them with these figures would be really cool because it essentially is a good middle ground. You don't need to spend several $1,000s for Blitzway figures when you can get these. And if you want something higher end, the sort of cartoonish look of the 1/6 Ghostbusters from Mattel, then you can grab these as well. And they fit into the collection as something different and unique from what you've already got. So I think these are kind of awesome because they serve as a good economic middle point for those of us who have ever wanted a higher end version of 1/6 figures, but have not wanted to go as high end as Blitzway. So that being said, I don't know if I'm going to grab these or not. They're kind of a little higher than what I usually like to spend on things, and I've got other priorities going on. But if this is something where you've been averse to buying something as expensive as, a full-blown Hot Toys or Blitzway figure in the past, these may be a good option for you. And they've got some pretty cool accessories and really nice designs. So, and the designs, you're not final on them yet. One of the things I say about the Star Ace stuff and the PCS stuff too is that we get to see these designs early, and if there's something that doesn't really work about them, they often make changes. So if you are like me and you don't like that white plastic zipper running up and down the flight suit, voice your opinion. Maybe they can swap it out. I can't imagine that it's that difficult to either go with a different colored plastic zipper if that's the route they need to go for financial reasons, or to source an actual metal zipper, which would look way better. Beyond that, these are pretty cool. There's something I think that's worth checking out. You can take a look at all the photos over on BigBadToyStore.com, obviously, where they're available for pre-order, or you can check out Jason's coverage over at Ghostbusters News. However, if you are a budget-minded Ghostbusters fan who's seeking some Halloween seasonal fun, Dollar Tree stores now have some Ghostbusters crew socks in their seasonal section for the low price of $1.25 per pair, with designs featuring Slimer, Stay Puft, and the Ghostbusters flight suits. Unfortunately, you'll have to go hit your actual local Dollar Tree to see if these are around, since you can't order them online. But if you run across them for $1.25 a pair, you may as well collect all 4 of the designs that have been spotted in the wild so far for $5. If you want to see these, head over to Ghostbusters News. The photos are there. These are not necessarily new socks. I think they've appeared in different sets of crew socks over the years. And so they're not necessarily new designs, but for $1.25 a pair, it's a pretty amazing deal. I got to say, for $5 for 4 pairs of socks, if you can get all 4 of them, is not bad. It's pretty awesome. And it's something you can wear under your flight suits or put with something else that you want to wear, or I don't know, add to your crazy Dragon Con costume because that's where you were. Whatever, that's fine. Let's talk about a couple things that are fan-oriented to wrap up headlines real quick. In terms of fan merch, I want to remind you really quick that the folks over at the Ghostbusters Containment Unit Autograph Collecting Group, aka TCU Collectibles, our friends Matt Sanders and Tom Henry, have a couple of mystery autograph options that are available for you if you want to grab them. For $40, they are offering mystery bags, which will include a small item like an 8x10 or a ray gun signed card. For $100, you can get a mystery box, which is guaranteed to have one small item like an 8x10 or card, and one large item like an 11x14 print or larger item. And these are great options if you want to pick up, some mystery autographs, add them to your collection, have some fun. And to be real, I don't even want to call this a situation where you are gambling on chance, because pretty much everything that you could potentially get from Tom and Matt at this point would be something that would be worth the $40 or $100 you're going to spend. And personally, I've participated in mystery boxes with Matt and Tom in the past and had really good experiences. It's really cool presentation, the way they set up everything for you so that when you get your package, you open it up and you get to see what's inside, and it comes in a Ghostbusters, or rather a containment unit themed box, which is really great. And if you're not into mystery stuff, I want to remind you also that they have a Peck Pack, which is an 11x17 signed poster that is designed by Eric Christensen and the Moogly Fan Club to look like a campaign poster for Walter Peck. You'll get that as well as a 3-inch campaign button for Peck's campaign. Only 40 of these were produced. William Atherton signed these posters and I watched him do it. And he did a fantastic job. He was totally nice and amicable and talked to everybody while he was signing these, and it was cool to watch him work through them. So if you want to check these out, head over to the Facebook group called The Containment Unit. We collect spores, molds, and autographs, I believe is the long form name of it, or head over to TCU Collectibles is probably the easier way to get there and find it. Our last headline item for the week is a fan item as well, but in this case, it's not really a discussion of one specific thing that happened as much as several days where many things happened. Dragon Con took place over Labor Day weekend, and along with it was PKE Surge, the longest running meetup of Ghostbusters fans. I guess on the planet, perhaps, definitely within the United States. If you were there, I hope you had a great time. Hope it was a blast. If you were not there and you want to see what PKE Surge was all about and how many people were involved, all the things that they had, the different costumes that were involved in it, you can head over to the PKE Surge Facebook group. If you don't know this exists, you can go join that group, and that is essentially the place where all the organizing happens each year for PKE Surge at Dragon Con, including the information about the fan table, the information about the parade that happens there and how to get access to it. At this point, it's late to have that for this year, given that the event is over, but you may want to find out more about PKE Surge and attending Dragon Con for the future, or you may just want to see the cool stuff they did. For instance, I know they had a country western night on the first night of their events, and that meant that people came out and dressed in all sorts of crazy country western versions of Ghostbusters. There was apparently a Parton pack, which was a Dolly Parton feeling proton pack that I believe Katie Ambrose made, which is pretty amazing. So these are fun things in our community that our fandom represents. And unfortunately, I had hoped this year that this would be the year I'd get to Dragon Con. Life has changed and things are not what we would hope that they would be. But that doesn't mean that there weren't people out there having a ton of fun and it wasn't fun to watch it from home. So if you want to see some of what PKE Surge was all about, head over to Facebook and look for the PKE Surge Facebook group, join it, and take a look at all the awesome photos and videos in there. And if you were there, if you enjoyed Dragon Con and had a blast, I'm so happy for you. Hopefully sometime in the future, I might get to join you for that. But for now, no Dragon Con and no more headlines because we're all wrapped up. So we're going to go now to my conversation with Jason Fitzsimmons and Tony Taylor as we dig into basically everything that we're excited about with relationship to Ghostbusters that's happened since San Diego Comic-Con and that we're looking forward to as we track into Q4 of 2024 and the 40th anniversary of Ghostbusters. Joining me on Extraplasm Podcast, two of my favorite folks who contribute to the show on a regular basis, who've been here many times before, and I hope will be here many times in the future, even if this is a minecart of an episode where we talk about lots of different things. Jason Fitzsimmons of Ghostbusters News and Tony Taylor of Phantasm Shop, formerly PhantasmToys.com. I'm so excited you're both here. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, it's been a minute. You've been off living the high life, interviewing the Eric Reichs and the Steve Johnsons of the world. So I'm honored that we're bestowed the privilege to be back on here.
Hey, to be fair, you were here after Eric Reich. You were just not here after Steve Johnson. So that you've been around. You and I talked the week before Comic-Con.
Yeah. But my appearance post Reich, I mean, that was already pre-planned. That was already in the scheduling booklet. So this, it's a miracle that we're back.
No, it may be actually a miracle that we're back, but in some ways it's a miracle for me because I get to be here with the two of my favorite people, and it's not a mistake. It's not like some sort of error. Coming back to from a month away, basically, I realized like last time I actually talked to somebody else on mic, I really do think it was you, Jason. Like it was probably you and I talking before Comic-Con. Steve and I had already recorded and gotten things done, and we were sort of working on editing things. And I realized that with what's been going on, like I've done some, re-releases of episodes. I put Steve Johnson's episode out, which was great. And I've done the headlines segment, but I haven't had a chance to talk about like anything that's happened since Comic-Con with people I like. And so it was a sort of a great opportunity to bring you in. And then, of course, Tony, as you know, you are the de facto part-time co-host of the show when Jason's not around. But you're both here, so that's great. No, I'm kidding. But I'm excited because you're here too, because like you are two of my favorite people I love to talk about Ghostbusters with. Like you're the people I keep up direct messages with and chat with, and I haven't had a chance to really like talk with you on mic. So Tony, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Like Jason said, it's an honor to be here and sit in the same chairs as Steve Johnson's and Eric Reichs and such. But no, I'm just enjoying the end of summer and getting excited for Halloween. But yeah, I'm always excited to come on Extraplasm and fulfill my duties as part-time co-host, which I'm very proud of and I have put on my resume. So I take that very seriously.
And you've been off appearing on other podcasts as well. I believe that you were recently over on the Toy Anxiety show where you were appearing over there and letting folks know about what's been going on with Phantasm Shop, which I still love Phantasm toys. I want everybody to know that, even though you're Phantasm Shop now and you're going to sell like, I don't know, engine covers and windshield wipers.
Possibilities are endless. No, we're more than just toys. Yeah. We're the whole package.
Well, part of the reason I had both of you on is because it's been a month since I've really had an opportunity to talk to my friends and the folks I like about the things that are going on that I'm excited about, but also because like I really want to start to do this. I want to have more of an opportunity for us on Extraplasm to take a moment and recognize the things we're happy about and having gratitude about, because I think the Ghostbusters fandom, as much as I love it, sometimes gets steeped in, some cynicism, some aspects of what's wrong. When Eric Reich was on this show, he talked about one of the underlying things that makes Ghostbusters what it is that it's about underdogs. And I agree with him, but I think sometimes we're all very good at figuring out how to be underdogs of the universe around us. And so that means that when things happen in the fandom, people get negative. They tend to turn, sort of cynical about what's happening in some ways. And I wanted to just take a moment and just sort of like go, what do we like about Ghostbusters? Like, what is the gratitude points that we have? And what are the things we're excited about that we've been doing lately with relationship to Ghostbusters? And I wanted to do that with two of the folks I know who are the most positive people in the community, who put out amazing content all the time or amazing stuff and who like embody a real love of this franchise. So if the two of you are wondering, like, why did I randomly go, hey, do you want to make a podcast? And you were like, hey, what should it be about? And I was like, I don't know, just make a podcast, because I really wanted to have fun and talk about Ghostbusters with two of the most fun people in my life who know how to do that. So I invite you both to be here to do that with me. And I thank you for doing it with me, because you're both cool people and you're both people who represent fun and a positivity in this fandom. And so I thought we could dig into that a bit. And hopefully in the future, what I really want to do is I want to start to have a segment where maybe people will start to contribute. Like, what's going on this week that you think is really great in Ghostbusters that we can kind of put together and make part of the show every week so that folks can contribute to this. But to kick it off, I thought it would be cool if we just did an episode where it's Q4 almost. We're going into the back end of the year. Comic-Con's happened. Halloween's coming. What are we excited about? Like, what is it that we are really grateful for or happy about within the Ghostbusters fandom and community? So I don't know. I don't mean to put you all on the spot on this. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, for me, September is kind of my kickoff for the busiest time of year. People going on Google, searching Ghostbusters costumes, how to build one, how to buy one, maybe even. And hopefully Ghostbusters News is one of those first sites that pop up. And then that kind of bleeds into the Christmas season, which also bleeds into people buying more Ghostbusters merch, me buying a hell of a lot of Ghostbusters merch. So, yay, consumerism. That's always a great positive. But outside of just, Ghostbusters news, again, kind of going into that busy time of year, it's really just the excitement of what's to come in terms of the animated series, but not really even that, just new toys, new merch. Like, there's already been so much that's kind of like been announced, that's kind of squeaked out. I mean, we have to be weeks away from pre-order of Mondo figures. Like, that has to be right around the corner. Like, that has to be so soon. And then while that's happening, we've got Star Wars Toys announcing 12-inch action figures that are quite up there in price. I mean, same with the Mondo figures too. As well as just random finds at like Walmart locations. And my favorite thing all year, I think, is the random Ghostbusters merch. Boxer shorts, sleep pants, plushies, mugs, all this random stuff that you're going to be so excited for, and you're going to run out to the store because, oh my God, I need to have it. And then 10 minutes later, when it's in your home, you're not going to give a damn about it. Those are my biggest excitements all year long. So yeah, I'm pumped. I'm jazzed. We're in September now. It's the spooky season.
I just look, since you said this, I feel like this is a good opportunity to remind everybody that the Bitty Boomers Stay Puft Bluetooth plush speaker is now available for pre-order at bigbadtoystore.com, because it's not available at Walmart, but I think it fits right alongside those pants and those shoes and whatever else you're gonna buy that you go chasing down, right? But you're right, like there's some excitement in that like big hype that happens in the like, oh, here's the push of all the stuff that kind of happens in the fourth quarter of the year as you get into like Halloween and the Christmas season and you see more of this stuff come out. And I do think that this year, like, there's a little more of it because of the 40th anniversary and because you just came off a movie, right? But it's weird because most of it's not Frozen Empire oriented. It's just like, hey, here's the four guys again in a different format. Like
you remember Stay Puft, right? You like Slimer.
Yeah, I remember Slimer.
Hey, here they are in funky neon colors.
Here they are with a weird pumpkin sewn to them. Here they are. Yeah. But on top of everything Jason said, I mean, obviously Halloween, it's the best time of year, especially for a Ghostbuster fan. Gives you everybody around an excuse to dress up as a Ghostbuster. And there's so many more costume opportunities than there's ever been. And on top of all that, there's also a HasLab being teased also right around the corner on top of all this other stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm ready to finally get all the details on this new HasLab, because say what you will about Plasma Series and say what you will about the other stuff that Hasbro's done, that when it comes to their HasLabs, they've killed these two, and there's no reason to think they're not going to do great things with this third one, which, I mean, if you put 2 and 2 together, you get Ecto 1, which we all know it's going to be something like that. So I'm just excited to finally see all the details for that and see what that's all about.
I am also really excited about that Ecto 1 potentiality. I mean, it's not announced yet, right? But I think that everybody knows that I have been saying for years, like the one thing that's missing from my entire collection is a 112 Ecto 1 that is not a popcorn bucket. It's really great that my Mattel figures get to live in a popcorn bucket, and they can't really be seen that well easily through the windows, but if you look closely, you can see them through the tint. But I really would like them to have a car. And I've really wanted that for years. And I know that's going to maybe potentially be like, wait, there's supposed to be a Plasma Series Ecto 1 for Plasma Series figures. But let's be honest, everybody, I am deeply, deeply connected to my Mattel figures, and that's who's going to get the car. But I am still kind of, wondering, like, how will it go? Like, they've been very good at sort of running these HasLabs in the past where for the props and whatnot, things have gone very successfully. On the other hand, when they've done some things like vehicles for other lines, they've had some mixed success. They've had some situations where, like with Star Wars, where things didn't pan out quite as well. So I'm a little I'm excited, but I also want things to go smoothly, if that makes sense to everybody, because I really want this thing.
I think it will, though. I think it'll expand beyond just Ghostbuster fans, because the car itself is so iconic, and people out there collect big vehicles. They, like the Back to the Future DeLorean's got Hot Toys treatment and all that good stuff. There's larger vehicles. How many Batmobiles and stuff. There's people that just collect iconic movie vehicles too. So
and I think with Hasbro too, they're smart enough to know the power of the pack-in, especially doing so many HasLabs in the past. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you fit that thing up with some unlockables like an Ecto 1A conversion kit. You do an Afterlife conversion kit. You've got a Frozen Empire conversion kit with a new roof rack. People out there, they're going to buy 4 Ectos. Like, not everybody, but if you've got, let's say, 5% of the market that's like, okay, now I need 4 of them, that's a good chunk. Like, that's a good chunk of backers right there. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to see that too, if that's the case.
Comparing it to Star Wars too, a lot of their HasLabs, like look at the Cantina and other stuff that just come out recently. There's always figures that get included as tiers and stuff. I'd like to see them do that and expand and add some more to their 6-inch line and do some crazy stuff that a HasLab should be for.
I think an easy win for that is if they were like, hey, you know what? First tier Slimer. We finally give you like an accurate Hasbro made Slimer, not from another company or what have you. But yeah, a Hasbro made Slimer. And then from there, maybe you throw in, if you are doing, let's say, an Ecto 1A, part of that conversion kit, you give us the 4 guys in their dark uniforms possibly 2 slime blowers. I mean, that may be asking for too much. I know that's a lot, but I think you can definitely pull in those guys that have just been really, really waiting for a new Plasma series release, waiting for new figures. I think really focusing, I mean, as Tony kind of brought up when it comes to Star Wars, I think outside of conversion kits, I think figures that's the biggest one with this one. We don't need a replica license plate. You know, other companies make that. We don't need a driver's license or purchase materials, the race stamp sign. We don't need any of that garbage that we're gonna take a look at, and it's gonna sit in a box in our closet the next day, and we're
drawer
never
fodder. That's what I call that.
We won't see it till we're packing and we're moving elsewhere. So yeah, I think figures is definitely the key in the success of this HasLab. If again, it is an Ecto 1. Just saying.
We don't know. Right, you're right. It may not be, but I mean, it probably is, given that they are using a logo that has a tire and a fin on it. But like, if it's
got the red
if it's
fin.
not, we're all going to be like pretty like misled and go, "What the fuck were you thinking with the marketing on this?" But I think that'll be the question. We all sit back and go, "Wait, so all along you were releasing a Paranormal Research Center playset, but this is your logo choice? I don't get it." Like,
I still want to see him try and tackle another prop. I would love to see him try and do a slime blower. I mean,
yeah.
They kind of the last HasLab teases kind of dropped hints towards a slime blower. There's a lot of pink slime and stuff like that going on, and then I think there was even like, I don't know if it was around the same time, but kind of getting leaked stuff about Frozen Empire and there being a slime blower and stuff in that and all that good stuff. Like, I kind of bought into it. Like, I would love to see that too. See this one be a success and them to take another step and get risky and do a blower.
I wondered if they might do something at some point where they just said, we're not going to do a full slime blower, but we could do an accessory pack for your Plasma series figures so they can get them the slime blower. You can get those things like into the HasLab. And I don't know if you remember this, but like the most epic Mattel figure in terms of accessories, without question, is San Diego Comic-Con 2015 courtroom Egon Spengler. Because like Egon comes with like, I don't even know, like 15 different stupid accessories. Like anything that they produce for the big 12-inch line, they put in with him. Like he comes with the mug, he comes with like the boom box, he comes with all this stuff that the rest of the line didn't come with, that they already basically had models and like sculpts for, but they just shrank down and then produced in smaller format. And it made me wonder, like, if some of the teases we've seen about slime blowers with relationship to this and Ghostbusters 2 tease things have been like, okay, yeah, maybe there'll be like a convertible, you know, top or something for the car, the same way Playmobil has done that, of like, it's basically the same car, you just kind of change the top out and change a couple different features on it. But I made me wonder if like another way they could pay off that Ghostbusters 2 stuff would be to release the individual props for the Plasma series figures as a like pretty cheap way to spiff up and like do a pack-in goal on these. I don't know. Like, it would be kind of neat to get, but if we don't, I'll also survive. You know, it'd be fine. But again, I have my Maddie figures. They have slime blowers.
Also, if we're talking about what we're excited for coming up, we're talking HasLab. We've got HasLab. We got the 2-in-the-box shipping. You know, like that's shipping very, very soon too.
Totally.
So, I mean, that alone is going to like cause a fury of people to go to Facebook and different Ghostbusters pages and love it and complain about it. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great. Why is this sound not accurate? I don't know. It's a toy. But yeah, I'm really pumped about this. I mean, the Proton Pack was really cool, obviously. It's hard to top some of the past ones, or it's hard to top that in general, but I don't know, man. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for a good ghost trap. We've only ever really had one when it comes to functionality. So, and the fact that we're getting like a Ghostbusters 2 mode on this one, it scratches me where I itch.
Exactly.
I have to say that like when we saw it at the Firehouse for the 40th, there was Zach from Hasbro had it, and those of us who were around got to interact with it and hold it and stuff. And I was like, this is really cool. But they weren't really demoing any of the electronic features. There were a few people who I talked to who had an opportunity to see it work electronically, like in the back of an SUV. That sounds really creepy, but it's really just more the Hasbro Pulse people were like hanging out in an SUV. The Ghostbusters team was like parked right by the Firehouse chilling, not like there was a Men in Black situation and they were all in tinted windows. But It was not something we really got to see happen. Sorry, that's really random.
If a dark van pulled up and somebody like came up to me and was like, "Hey, I got new Ghostbuster toys in here," I'd be in that van right now.
You know, for a while there, Tony, you could have been that guy.
I could have, yeah. This is true. This is
kind of funny.
I don't own a van.
No. If you did, you could get a Sprinter van maybe, and then you could get some Ghostbusters logos on the sides of it, and you'd look real official. But I think, when we saw this thing at the firehouse, we didn't get to see how it worked. We just got to hear about how it worked. And so it was like, okay, cool. This is really authentic looking. It's really great. It weighs like 5 pounds. It has a lot of heft to it. But this whole notion of like, you change the bars on the side of the trap and that changes the functionality of the trap. And I was like, I love that. That's like such a cool idea that like, not only can you change out the color of the bars, but when you do so, that changes the mode that this thing is using. Like, I mean, those are things that obviously like they didn't do on the Mattel tech back in the day. And if they did, it would have been way more costly. Like RFID chips and all those kinds of things are way cheaper now. And I don't even know if all of them existed to do the things you would have wanted to do then. But like those Mattel props to me always had like a sense of coolness because they all work together. Like if you had a proton pack wand and you had the goggles, then you would see a stream in the goggles. And if you had the PKE meter in the goggles, you'd see a different ghost. And if you took the two wands and you put them together and crossed the streams, they did something different. So to sort of like see Hasbro pay this off in a way where they say, hey, changing out the parts in a physical sense creates different or new functionality, I thought was really cool and kind of almost paid tribute back to the toys and props we've already seen. Like that we have some relationship with and really love. And I don't know if they did that on purpose in that way, but it's a really cool like way that they've integrated that feature. I really like it.
I like how they actually put functionality to the actual knobs and switches and stuff that, and we don't really know what their real functionality is as far as the actual equipment's concerned. But like on the trap, the knob on the side is like the ghost selector for the ghost noises and stuff. And they put the volume switch on the crank knob on the pack and actually adding functionality to it. Mm-hmm. It makes it just that much better. It's the cherry on top.
Yeah.
They've done the wand separately and you have the Spangler wand and then they did the 84 wand. Do you think they'll do like a Frozen Empire wand? Do you think they'll just...
I mean, they could.
There's enough changes to it that there's more changes between the Spangler wand and the 84 wand. And they did that. They might as well just do a third one and you get the yellow plate and the nozzle's different, the handle's different. And there's all kinds of upgraded things on the Frozen Empire one.
And people scooped up that 84 one like crazy, like when it dropped on Hasbro Pulse. So
yeah, I have to admit, I was surprised by that. It wasn't something I was motivated to go do because I frankly don't feel like I need another wand in my life currently. But I was really surprised to see how many people were like, yeah, no, totally, I want that. I mean, I guess it makes some sense. There's some folks out there who never really wanted an Afterlife wand, and they were doing the work to like retrofit their wands to remove parts from them and get 3D printed parts to make it look like the original prop. So that's where I wonder like how well the Frozen Empire wand would sell because it doesn't have that same sense of like nostalgia to it where people want the original version of it that was existed from the first movie and the second movie. But I imagine it can also be something that could sell well.
I mean, they've already got like ice noises in the damn thing. Come on.
You all are talking about creating, Frozen Empire proton pack wands and potentially slime blowers. I will tell you that the prop I actually would like to see most at this point, like, I don't think I'm ever going to get it from Hasbro, I'll be honest. But it would be very cool if I did. I would like a drone trap. I would really like a drone trap. I really want a drone trap. It's the stupidest thing that nobody needs. It would create all kinds of liability. There's no way they'll ever produce it. Kids would fly it into like planes or something. But I mean, I really want one.
We did get a drone Egon Spengler action figure post Harold Ramis's death.
That's true.
So
yes, that's true.
Yeah, so I think a ghost
Mattel
trap.
Mold.
Exactly. I definitely don't see it coming from Hasbro. But I would not be surprised if some other company was to just snatch that up and we see something get released. Definitely not accurate to what is seen in the film. But in terms of just, hey, here's a caution stripe box that is, a drone.
No.
I could totally see that happen.
they should do what they try to do for Afterlife, but instead, this time you make a drone one instead of like the RTV, and the doors pop open, and this time a big phallic sewer dragon pops out, and then they can't release this either. And then you could have a closet full of them and sell them on eBay later. And
Wait, what are you talking about? I never did that. What are you talking about? I never sold some of those for charity before they were discovered by people in China as salvage things. What are you talking about? That never happened.
It's really a shame because that Muncher Trap is a cool toy for what it was and everything, and like the price point and stuff. That would have been awesome for regular retail, and the fact that it got pulled for whatever reasons.
Josh Gad was happy to get his.
That's right. You got him to sign one. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, and he was happy to get one. He actually said, I'm going to show this to Jason Reitman and ask him why they never made this. So, yeah, I mean, that would be the thing. If they made that now, I'd have to go find the next voice actor. Like, does the sewer dragon have a voice actor that I can drag a canceled trap to and be like, look, I've brought this for you as an offering. Please take one. But I don't know. I doubt it. But I mean, for real, like, it's kind of funny you talked about this this idea of the Egon Spengler drone, because of course that's built off a stolen Maddie figure mold, basically. So of course it's amazing. But like a drone trap is something I think would just be cool, even if it didn't actually fly. Like, I would think it would just be cool to have like a display piece where you had the ability to like turn on the propellers and stuff and do cool stuff with it. It doesn't have to actually fly. I do think it's kind of funny you said third parties could produce this, because I envision a world where Rubies makes the drone trap, which means that most of them people would buy. They wouldn't work out of the box, but the ones that did, like half of them would work right and half of them would just fly into people's houses, which might create problems. But I still want one. I still want a drone trap. I still think it would be a cool thing to get. I mean, who's going to make that?
I mean, I want to make it clear that any comments about Rubies from Extraplasm, that does not come from Ghostbusters News. So, Rubies, I don't believe any of your products have faulty wiring.
I don't even think Rubies still exists. I think that Rubies has been like bought by NECA or something, and I'm not suggesting that current modern day Rubies has these issues, but I am saying that pre-acquisition by the parent company of NECA version of Rubies made the Walmart trap, and without question, the Walmart trap has bad wiring that causes it to drain when it's in demo mode and the batteries go dead, which is why they were so cheap for everybody who bought them on clearance, because Walmart managers were like, this is defective merchandise, so I'll put it in the clearance bin. And that's why, ultimately, even if you had a crappy drone version that came from, like, not Rubies, let's say a different company, so we don't have to upset anybody, who put out a fly-by-night trap in the same way that Walmart trap came out, it would be okay. We'd all figure out how to rewire it, hack it, etc. Sure, some of them would fly into traffic. That would be a problem. But eventually, we as Ghostbusters fans and underdogs who rise up would figure it out.
I mean, that would be cool to have one. You could easily, make a nice display one and have a nice flight stand and have it flying above with your other props and stuff on display, or mounted to a wall. I'm sure would look sweet too. I mean,
yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to actually function. It'd just be cool to have one.
Really cool. The wall art stuff that you can like buy at Walmart, there's like a light that like, it looks like it's coming through the wall. Actually have it where it's like half of one of the ghost traps, and have it where like the wall looks like it's cracking and everything. That'd be kind of cool. And have it lit up where the light's blinking or something.
Or what if you use magnets? So you can make it like levitate and on a stand. Like, I have a very cheap Loot Crate hoverboard that is very small, that essentially like just kind of hovers in space because it's got magnets and there's repelling magnets in the base underneath it. So if you had that, and then you just kind of had like spinning motors that could be like the drone, the drone motors that you could turn on and off, that'd be kind of a cool display piece, right?
I mean, I've got that Bradford Exchange. I got the Bradford Exchange Slimer that is balanced on top of a ghost trap by magnets. If I can just reverse engineer that whole thing and put the base magnet in Slimer's ass, and then have it where that's hovering the ghost trap, I'm like 50% there.
Yeah. See, you are inspiring a new Facebook forum that will soon exist called Bradford Exchange Mod Kit People. That will be the next group, is the people who go out and modify Bradford Exchange things, all because of this podcast. Because that's what we're talking about.
Dozen of us.
Hey, I'm going to say this. I know that this is very, out of the realm of what we were just talking about in terms of action figures and things and props. But one of the things that excites me about Ghostbusters right now, for real, is that Bradford Exchange lamp with the Slimer booty. It looks like the maquette from Slimer 2 looks like the maquette from Ghostbusters 2.
Mm-hmm.
I dig that lamp. It's good. Bradford Exchange, sometimes they hit the nail on the head. And with that lamp, I think they did. So
I think every release by them, it's getting better. Like they're continuing. They're on a slope. They're going up. Eventually, they may go down again. But right now, I think they're doing well. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they crank out either this year or the new year.
I think that they have gotten a lot better since that cuckoo clock that didn't really cuckoo. It didn't really kind of have open doors or do anything. Yeah,
they showed up to the party. It's fine.
It was a
we're
clock.
Not always on. We're not always our best selves.
Who doesn't want to hear the Ghostbuster theme song once an hour?
Yeah, and every time, every time Ray Parker is getting paid, man. Like every time that thing, there's like 50 cents to get this deposited in his account every hour on the hour because of Bradford. It's great.
Do you think that actually works? Like if you were to count the number of clocks that are playing that, or do he just gets paid up front? Because I don't think it works that way. I don't think
it totally works that way.
If it does, then the clock that I have boxed up sitting on the floor is making Ray Parker Jr. $0 right now. And maybe that means I should turn it on and just leave it somewhere. But I also will say it's hard to listen to the song on that because there's this weird, high-pitched whine behind the music track. So I'm excited to see Bradford get better because I think that their quality has improved since that was probably the flagship product that they first started to put out where people were like, oh, they're really devoted to doing something as a high-end collectible. And I think that this Slimer lamp that's been out for a while now, as much as it's something that's not new, I really like. It's great. It works well. It fits the room well. It really ties the room together, etc. Jason, I know you have one. So I think it's your fault I have one.
It really ties the room together. Let me tell you, no matter what type of room you have, you can put Slimer in your living room, your bedroom, your bathroom. It's going to tie the room together, no matter the decor.
Doesn't matter. Put it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
What a lovely 3-piece living room set you have.
It fits every color scheme.
Slimer right on your end table. You'll love it.
It fits everywhere. It absolutely fits in every single context. Do you have a motorhome? It fits there. Do you have a camper? It fits there. Is a camper a motorhome? I don't know. But it'll fit in either. Do you have a house? It'll go there too. Do you have an apartment? Sure. Why not? Any room, any facility, it'll go in. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's residential.
Will it fit inside a 9-foot tall inflatable firehouse?
It might. Which I have to say is another thing I'm really excited about. It will. Yeah. Yes, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way space works, come on.
No, yeah. I think we should leave it up to debate. It might. Let's leave it up to debate. Okay. Quantum physics exists. Maybe there will be some sort of situations where the lamp doesn't fit inside the 9-foot firehouse. Let's remember that, not everything is certain, but everything happens for a reason. Fate, luck, karma, something like that. I don't know.
You would need an inflatable table to put it on, though, an inflatable end table to put the lamp on.
Wait, an inflatable end table inside the inflatable firehouse?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that might be a fire hazard.
Well, I was about to say, don't expect electricity, though, coming from that firehouse.
Why? We're Ghostbusters fans. We're underdogs. We're going to figure out how to just splice into the cabling that goes inside of that firehouse.
Totally. Absolutely right. You're surrounded by fabric. It's great. Don't worry about fires. Right. It's fine.
It's fine. Just get a talent cell battery. Everything's going to be great.
Is it illuminated? Is the actual product, does it have lights in it? Is it an illuminated thing?
They have not said anything. They've got a product page up and they're like, hey, it's $350.
Yeah, it's got to have something.
That's it. That's all the information we're going to give you right now. No, they're awkwardly kind of I shouldn't say awkwardly, but they're transitioning right now from a company that would advertise and then they would sell it to you once it's out. But now they're getting into pre-orders. And with some of those items, you can see when it's like Disney, they have information, they have a description up and everything when it's ready to go. When it's Ghostbusters, that information comes a little bit later. So I got the 9-foot measurement directly from them. Luckily, I got a pretty decent relationship where I got a couple guys there where I email back and forth. And when I went up for pre-order, I emailed, I was like, hey, sizing, do you have anything? And it was like 9 foot. And height-wise, 9 foot. What's the width, length? I don't know. 9 foot. That's, just gauge that. Just gauge that right there. So yeah, it may fit inflatable Ecto 1, hopefully, possibly. I don't know. If it doesn't, hey, it's accurate to the old Kenner toy. Have at it. Still going to be great. But yeah, I've got no idea if there's lights inside. It'd be cool, I think, if they added like an inflatable pole that you really couldn't.
I was going to say exactly that.
But you could
I was just going to say that.
Exactly. I want to see somebody rig one of these up to like a bounce house, like an actual bounce like flooring.
Yeah, that would
have
be
that
awesome.
as the top portion. Oh, be so cool.
I am stupidly excited about this. And if for folks, I don't even think we said it. Like, this is the HalloweenCostumes.com 9-foot inflatable firehouse we're talking about. This thing is completely dumb. Like, I have no reason to own it, but I just kind of want to camp in it. Like, not out in the woods, like in my backyard is fine. I'm not taking this out to go like keep me safe from mountain lions or something. But like, there's this stupid notion I have of wanting to just take this and put it in my backyard and like sleep in it at least once just so my neighbors can look at me weird, because that would be fucking hilarious. Like, and especially if I came out of it like in, I don't know, like a flight suit onesie set of pajamas, they'd be like, why? Why are you doing this?
I mean, Jim, they just released their new Slimer onesie. You can get that. You can order some pizza. You're gonna have a great time.
I can like completely cosplay in this thing. Like, it's great.
I still have my vintage real Ghostbusters bed sheets. So if you need to borrow some sheets for it.
Oh my God, that sounds great.
It's got the glow in the dark pillowcase. Come on now.
Now I also kind of want to turn it into a costume. Like, I kind of want to just like cut armholes in the side of it and sew them shut. And that way, like, you can just wear it and walk around as the firehouse as a giant.
I've seen people do that to the Stay Puft inflatables, and it doesn't look bad. Right. I mean, it's pretty cool for what it is. That would be great to see this.
But how funny would that be? Like a firehouse with sneakers just like marching down the road the same way that like Mowgli does at the beginning of the real Ghostbusters. But instead it's the firehouse.
But when you encounter somebody dressed up as the Ecto-1, it gets awkward.
They have that one.
You know?
They have that.
You got to like open up the front doors for it and come on in.
He's wearing it like a barrel.
I like the fact too that there's like a progression though, the Ecto-1 uniform or like the costume, because like it was at first just like, here's fabric and it's got print work on it. And now like the Ecto-1 uniforms is like, we're adding lights. We're making it inflatable. Like the freaking front grill is now 3-dimensional. Like, they're getting better with an Ecto-1 costume.
Yeah.
I don't know what the market of an Ecto-1 costume. I didn't think it was high, but the fact that they're getting better, someone's buying them. I mean, I bought one of the previous models, so obviously people are buying these things. I'm just surprised. Apparently, so many are.
Yeah, I imagine that many of us have bought more than one just because we're like, I need to collect it. and so that helps to drive the sales on this.
I saw a mother on X. She posted her kid in a Spirit Halloween, and it was like, Marvin, I don't know if his name's Marvin. Marvin got his Halloween costume for the year, and he's so excited, and he's holding the damn Ecto-1. Like, he's going to be the Ecto-1, and then behind him, there's the costume for Slimer, Stay Puft, a Ghostbuster. It's like, this kid chose to be the Ecto-1. Like, what in the hell is going on?
That's awesome.
That's so awesome. He's going to own a Cadillac when he's later in life. You know, he already knows. He's great.
That's hilarious. I mean, to be honest, though, that's pretty fun. Like, you get to be a car. Why not? You get to like, these kids have grown up on cars. So why wouldn't you want to be the Ecto-1? Like, it's a character. It comes to life now.
And that would be so obnoxious, too. I mean, you can just like honk at people at the Halloween party, you know? You could back up and beep or like make screeching noises. It's great.
You know, it's everywhere you go, you just go, yeah. You're in character the whole time. Can I tell you my favorite feature of the Halloween costumes 9-foot inflatable firehouse?
Did you find a feature? Because there's not too much information on those.
The zipper on the
front?
front?
I'm going to tell you what the product information says. Because
that's the only feature.
There's product information. I'm going to read it to you. You ready?
They just added it. Okay. We're
ready. Are you ready?
Breaking news. Breaking news.
It says, this is an exclusive Ghostbusters inflatable firehouse decoration.
Oh. You got me.
Got excited.
That's what it says. And that I love. They're not lying. That's what it is.
Oh, I just noticed that they got they just got the disguised Garaka costume in stock. Oh, that review's coming. I can't wait to look like something from Hellraiser. This is going to be great.
I mean, look, we're joking about this, but like, I really am very excited about the number of Halloween costumes, that sounded terrible and redundant, that they are putting out for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like, I think it's really great that there is a Garaka costume that came out from this movie, because we came out of Afterlife And we got Ghostbuster stuff, but like we didn't get a new Gozer. Like that wasn't a thing you could buy. And we didn't really get Muncher. Like there was some kids Muncher costumes, I think, right? But like there really wasn't a lot
kids
with the movie. So to see like the big bad from the most recent Ghostbusters movie get the treatment for Halloween is pretty freaking cool.
Jim, I just want to clarify that there are 2 Goraka costumes coming out this Halloween season. So like you can choose which style of Goraka you want to be. There's a full cloth one, and then there's one with more like a rubber mask. And I think honestly it looks a lot cooler, but the horns are smaller. Which one am I going to be? I don't know, but I'm definitely choosing Goraka over an Ecto one.
What about if you were Goraka in an Ecto one? Like, can you get like the Goraka costume and then get that Ecto one sandwich board costume and wear them both at the same time and be like, this is what it would look like if Goraka carjacked these fuckers.
I'm just thinking right now that maybe the kid really just liked the Possessor Ghost and that's why he's going as the Ecto. But then I thought about them licensing a trash bag costume that would just go horribly wrong. Be the Possessor.
On the one hand, you're marketing a trash bag, which costs you nothing and you can sell easily. On the other hand, you have to deal with the liability of potentially suffocating kids. Seems like a bad choice.
Well,
maybe don't make that one.
I mean, Halloween, they're going to know how to do it. You know, they make a Slimer, just make it black. Yeah, like the little breathe holes and everything. It's fine. Billy Bryan would likely get some type of residual from that. So everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Billy Bryan gets paid. No children die. It's all win-win.
I have a roll of Possessor costumes upstairs under the kitchen sink. Ready to go.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Do not say that.
I get them down at Costco in bulk. They're really cheap.
But with all these costumes
funny.
out, there's never been at least like a mass market or mass retail or whatever, Vigo costume. Like he's never gotten any love as far as costumes go. That would be just like the Halloween Horror Nights. Apparently, I think I saw it. It had to have been you, Jason, on Ghostbusters News with the picture.
It just had to be from GhostbustersNews.com. I mean, thank you for. Yeah, thank you for Inside Universal for that photo. Grabbed it from their video. And you know what? Yeah, like, I mean, the look of that mask, like, how is Halloween Costumes or how is Trick or Treat Studios in particular, because of their masks, how are they not on this?
That would be awesome. A big, I would be proud to display something like that. Just, it wouldn't be just for Halloween. That'd be a year-round treat.
Well, that's funny you say that because like
6 foot tall Vigo replica, a year-round treat.
Put it on a mannequin.
On the box.
Put it on a mannequin. I have a giant print of the Vigo painting, and like to put get a mannequin and put the Vigo costume on it in front of the print.
No, I thought you were actually just like asking for like an animatronic of Vigo or like a big statue of Vigo, and that would be the year-long
treat. I'll take
treat.
anything Vigo. Give me. Yeah, let's go. Sure.
Well, I have to say that I'm excited about the fact that Trick or Treat Studios, I think, is who's doing those Scoleri Brothers masks, right?
No, that's Halloween Costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
They're up in their game, man, when it comes to like Halloween masks. Like those Scaleris look pretty good.
My bad. My apologies. But, I think that those are pretty damn awesome. And I've thought about buying those as much as we're joking about like having Vigo year round as a celebratory thing in your home. I've thought about buying those. I don't feel like there's really good retail representations of the Scoleri brothers that like have ever come out as busts or as statues. And the closest that maybe we've gotten to that is when they got the pack-in figures that went with the Courtroom Ghostbusters from Mattel. We got something that looked kind of like, representation of those figures as they looked in the movie. And those masks are freaking great. Like they look fantastic. And so I've thought about like, oh, maybe I'll get those and then get like just like a styrofoam head, to put them on and then just put them somewhere like in my office, is sort of like, they're not going to be statues at that point, but they could be two representations of those characters that look pretty statuesque in terms of how well those masks are designed. So that's something I'm really jazzed about. Like I never thought we'd see Scoleri Brothers masks. I don't know. That never happened for so many years that it's kind of crazy to think that 35 years on or whatever, we're finally getting the Scoleri Brothers merchandise that we've always wanted.
Better late than never.
That's true. It is better than never.
but like revealed at Comic-Con was that, I forget who's making it, but it's that like the library ghost statue that was shown off, and
the one that
at San Diego
Arian's studio, like it's essentially a 3/4 model of the one that Arian made, right?
Yeah,
for Frozen Empire.
Yeah.
That is Elite Creature Collectibles.
That's it. I'm sure it's going to have a hefty price tag on it, and rightfully so, because it's amazing looking. But does have like maybe not such a large involved, maybe more of a bust version, but more realistic, actual, like a company like that tackling the Scolari brothers and coming out with a couple of busts. Because doing big versions of those, that'd take up a lot of room. But it'd be cool to have the electric chairs and all that stuff going, and you could do a lot with the Scolari brothers.
You know what else I'm kind of excited about? Even though I'm not particularly excited about their price point, I admittedly do think the Mondo figures coming out is pretty cool. I don't want to buy them because they cost too much money. I'm not going to lie. But the fact that somebody's making real Ghostbusters figures in 2024 and that are new is kind of exciting and kind of cool, you know?
It's crazy to say that a Boogeyman and a Sam Hain are like a new thing to come out, because there hasn't been a proper one in however many decades, which is ridiculous in and of itself. But it is super exciting to see a high quality company like Mondo tackle the real Ghostbusters and give us a high quality, super detailed, highly articulated collectible figurine line. It's just great that it's actually finally, the real Ghostbusters in and of itself is getting the attention it deserves and never really got after the original Kenner line. So,
and I mean, the real original Kenner line too, as odd as it is, like it's not really based in that animated series. Like, yeah, the original 4 guys are, and Janine and Lewis, but everything else is just, it almost seems like in its own world.
Yeah, it's like a lot of it was based on just the pilot, that short few minute long pilot, like the pitch episode to get the show made and stuff. It seems like Kenner got that and just made a full line of toys off of just that little bit. But yeah, the price is a bummer, and it sucks that it's not like, are you getting $200 worth of stuff? $202 worth of stuff in that 2-pack? Yes, it's high quality and super awesome. And like the Boogeyman in and of itself with the second head, that's almost another figure in and of itself. But
yeah,
to pretty much know that it's just because of the licensing nonsense that's going on and the legalities behind actually making those licensed figures or whatever is what's really making the prices is a hard pill to swallow. But I hope they're successful, because I'd like to see them go beyond the Ghostbusters and it to be a huge, robust line and get a whole bunch of attention, and see them make People Busters and just go crazy with it.
Yeah, I think that like the part of this that I lean into the most is like less about that I want to spend $202 on 2 figures kind of thing, and more that somebody was like, let's actually work more with the real Ghostbusters license, make stuff with it, produce something that is new. I don't know where the new cartoon's going to go, and I imagine we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But to see that like real Ghostbusters is in a way like getting its heyday in the midst of all this other celebrating of the 40th anniversary of the franchise and what have you, like I think is really cool. And it makes me hopeful that maybe, since we do see so many, we see so many versions of the 4 guys, right? Like Star Ace has the new set of 4 guys coming out that we've, are kind of new this week that we've been talking about and things in media. There's the 4 guys that are coming out from PCS at any given point. Like, it's very clear that companies can take these characters and do their own spins on them. And so the fact that Boogeyman is being realized and like Sam Hain's being realized as a character by a company, to me at least, like paves the road for somebody else to go, oh wait, well, we could do that. Like, even if you don't want to spend the $200 price point for a Mondo figure, maybe it sets up Super 7 to maybe get a Ghostbusters license in the future and go, well, wait, we could do that. We could do it cheaper. So I don't know that I'll end up with the Mondo figures, but the fact that those figures exist excites me. I think that's something that like is really cool.
I think we're also like we have been for years, but I think it's now more than ever. We are at a massive saturation point of Bill Murray's. Like the lead 4 guys. Star Ace Toys right now, they've got their 12-inch figures coming out, and they also have statues. Like, do we need that? And especially considering like, I think the statues are like $250, maybe $350, something like that. And then you've got the figures, which are coming out at a high price point too. We're at this weird time where I think the focus does have to go on, as you mentioned earlier, Scoleri Brothers, Real Ghostbusters. Maybe not the primary focus, but like a lot of supplemental figures, collectibles, releases. Because I don't know how many more Dan Aykroyd action figures I can get excited about. I mean, I still get excited for them, but there's only so much only so much warmth race stands can, make me feel in the cockles of my heart.
Well, maybe it'll light a fire under Hasbro. It seems like they're still the master license holder. Maybe they'll see, oh, people actually really want this. Maybe Hasbro will actually do a little more with that license, and maybe it'll light a fire under them and get them going on some cool stuff. That'd
be underhanding. The Mondo stuff comes out. They're like, hey, we're doing Real Ghostbusters. Hasbro, hey, you know what? We're the master toy licensee. I can't help but notice your guys, you did some pretty impressive numbers. That'd be horrible. It would be great, I think, for a lot of people. And that's another thing too. Like when it comes to a lot of this new stuff coming out. I mean, we've already alluded to it. I just alluded to it. Is the price point? I think with a lot of this stuff, it is kind of leaving, I think, a good portion of fans behind. I mean, I know like some of us here, like I'm not buying everything I've mentioned. I'm not buying statues. I'm not buying the 12-inch figures. I'm not buying the Mondo figures. I'm not buying all of them. I'm going to have to pick and choose which ones I'm going to want to grab. But there are a lot of fans out there that when it comes to a figure that starts going up into the, the triple digits, they're out. Like they're immediately out. And that is definitely a shame when it comes to at least the assortment that we're seeing right now. Also, again, with a HasLab in the works that's going to be announced later this year too, which, those things are not cheap.
No, not at all. That's been my trepidation and worry, right? Is that there's going to be a trade-off between folks who decide to go with one or the other because they have to make a financial choice, right? But like, I'm hopeful that everybody's going to get what they want in some capacity. The people who want their Ecto 1 are going to get it because there's going to be people to back it. The folks who want those Mondo figures are going to get them because they're going to be offered. Like it's not a thing where they're going to go, oh, not enough people ordered them, we're canceling them. Those are going to happen. That's sort of been pretty clear that they're going to put that line out. And I imagine once they start it, they're not going to leave it hanging out there like, oh, we put out just Peter and, Egon, and maybe someday you'll get Winston. I think that they'll probably figure out how to put all four of those figures out if they're going to put them all out in those 2-packs. I think if there's anything that Mondo might end up recalibrating on, it might be that they decide to consider whether or not the single releases are worthwhile for them, because it gives people an opportunity to kind of not buy those 2-packs, but we'll see. Yeah. I don't know. They've already announced them, so I imagine it'll happen.
I could also see them possibly doing a 4-pack down the line. Like when they have all 4 Ghostbusters available, just releasing something that way. I'm sure some people would get upset. Some people would be angry, and whether or not you're going to do it too, where you could have it where maybe there's something exclusive when it comes to the color scheme. You do something a little different with it. Heck, maybe doing a callback to some of those funky neon designs from the old Kinder days, doing just something like an exclusive drop or release at San Diego Comic-Con. I think once they have those sculpts out for all 4 of the guys, they're definitely going to revisit them here and there, as long as the line is a success.
I'm just happy that it's, like I said, the cartoon series is getting some attention from somebody, and a huge company like Mondo. Maybe the pricing is why a lot of companies haven't really attempted it in the past. Maybe it's like a big financial, more on the risky side because of how much the license costs or whatever. I don't know. I'm no expert, obviously, but I'm just happy that it's getting something that it deserves. And the sculpts are beautiful. They're the Boogeyman and the Sam Hain, and then some of the accessories, like the accessory getting the ghost getting sucked into the trap. That's just genius. And I'm jealous that it's such a good idea. I'm jealous I didn't come up with it myself. But yeah, I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see the actual products, because even what we've seen is just a prototype too. So there's going to be some changes here and there and stuff, and they'll probably look even better once they're the final product too. So I am excited for them. Whether or not am I going to buy them, I don't know. I'm happy they exist, but the price point's a little scary.
Yeah. I will see how well they do at that price point. And I think beyond that, I think that it's good that these figures will exist because at least maybe we'll get more. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure what the new cartoon's going to look like, and I think we can get into that in a second because I think that, am I wrong in thinking that all three of us are excited about a new potential cartoon?
Yeah, I'm excited for the potential. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, I think we're all into the idea that like more Ghostbusters media is good. And I'm kind of stoked to think about the idea that like the real Ghostbusters is still relevant to someone who's making decisions about Ghostbusters. That being said, like, I don't know what this new cartoon's going to be. I'll be honest. I think that the most excited I would be is if this was some sort of like continuation or spin-off of the real Ghostbusters in some capacity. Like, I think it's great that we've had this continuation of the cinematic universe that's happened. But to me, like the cinematic Ghostbusters universe and the cartoon universe are two separate things, right? And I would love to see some way that we see the original series almost paid off and continued in a way. Even Extreme Ghostbusters did that, right? Like happened after the original cartoon. It had that tissue to connect back to it, so much so that they even did like an entire episode where the original Ghostbusters came back to help out with busting at one point. And so I would really love to see this new cartoon that's going to come out not be just a derivation of Frozen Empire and Afterlife and sort of what I'm going to call like the Phoebe-verse, right? If that makes sense, like the everything after Phoebe. But to be something that also has this connection back to the original cartoon to kind of bring in new fans, but also to keep all of us involved. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know.
Give it the X-Men 97 treatment.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. You could make it a little more adult and just kind of continue on with it. And I mean, that's gotten a lot of people on board, young fans. It's got X-Men 97 actually got my daughter interested in X-Men and stuff like that. That's her gateway to it, and can kind of bond with her a little bit because I watched the original and stuff like that. But I would love to see just a continuation. What would you call it? Ghostbusters 89? What would you call it? The real Ghostbusters 93? When did it go off the air? Or the real Ghostbusters 93?
I think the other side of that coin, though, is looking at X-Men 97, because this animated series, supposedly, it's been in development for quite some time. So I think holding X-Men 97 up there as like the benchmark, because I think as soon as that came out and people were like, oh, real Ghostbusters, or new Ghostbusters cartoon, the assumption, the immediate knee-jerk reaction is real Ghostbusters is back, coming to Netflix. And if it's not that, I
don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is either. And I think if it's not that, you already have a good amount of people who they're disappointed immediately because it's not real Ghostbusters, and they got what they wanted with X-Men 97. It's at such a high bar. I think, I honestly do feel like it's going to line up with some of the concept art that was released years ago for a supposed big screen production, like an animated thing, where it was going to be from the ghost perspective. Yeah. That was an idea that Ivan Reitman wanted to do years ago. And I think that could be an idea that definitely Jason and Gil's like, let's pursue this. Let's do it. We're hired by Sony. We're producers doing the whole thing here. We'll probably have some, writing ability in here as well. Let's work together and make this Ivan Reitman dream a reality. And I think honestly, that's what it's going to be. It's just a question of what's the DNA to the original series? What's the connection point? Are we going to see characters like animated renditions or realistic cartoon renditions of Peter Venkman or, Egon Spengler or what have you there? What decade are we going to? There's so many unknowns here, but I think for people that are expecting real Ghostbusters, darker tone, new stories, I don't think you're going to get that. And if you're going to get that, I think it's best right now to try and just, clear your mind. Devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I'm curious as like what the target audience is going to be for this. Is it going to be more directed towards just children? Is it going to be along those lines, or is it going to be like a broader appeal? Or that's what I'm curious to see too.
Here's the thing that has me interested in that question most deeply. The showrunner they've chosen is Elliot Kalin, right? I know who Elliot Kalin is simply because I listen to podcasts on the Maximum Fun Network, and therefore I listen to lots of advertisements for Elliot Kalin's podcast, The Flophouse, that happened during the middle of other shows I listened to. But I also know him because he was like a writer on The Daily Show, and he was, a head writer for not just The Daily Show, but also he was involved in like the recreation of Mystery Science Theater 3000 when they had Jonah Ray come in and do it. And so it really is fascinating to me that they've taken this animated series and the showrunner that they've put in place is a comedy writer, right? It's somebody whose background is writing comedy and critical comedy, like comedy that criticizes politics, right? Or comedy that criticizes and sort of makes fun of bad movies. And so I think it's kind of fascinating to me that that's who's kind of been put into the role of showrunner on this particular project, as opposed to somebody who works in kids media as sort of like their predominant wheelhouse. And to be fair, like he's also written an arc of Spider-Man for like a mini series and stuff, but like his background is not in child media, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that tells us anything about what this new series will be or who will be sort of the focus of it or who it's targeted for. But it fascinates me, like they didn't go to like a kids or young adult oriented person, and in terms of their history of what they've produced, and instead went to somebody who's been involved in critical commentary, satire, parody, etc. And so I wonder what that means about what the show is going to look like in the end.
I mean, for years, and it likely won't be this whatsoever. For years, I've always thought if you're going to give us a new Real Ghostbusters cartoon, or sorry, just a new Ghostbusters cartoon, you base it on the original four guys, movies. It's the 1990s. It's post Ghostbusters 2. You continue that storyline. But I think when it comes to the comedic style, I've always felt something like Archer would really work well in that Ghostbusters universe. Just maybe not the animation, but even so, who knows? But I just really feel like that kind of comedic style would work really well with that. You can kind of get a little dirty, a lot of fun jokes.
Right.
And then you've got guys in there doing, Billy Murray impressions and Dan Aykroyd and such like that. Hell, bring in Ernie Hudson. Let him actually voice his character this time around. Let him voice Winston. But that is a good point in terms of the his long resume there, where it definitely does not speak to child entertainment at all.
Yeah. Like it's not what his background is. It's not what he's come out of. Instead, it's come out of sort of critical commentary and comedy,
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder it makes me wonder, like, will we get a show if it is sort of what you're talking about, Jason, that's sort of from the ghost perspective, where we get like a snarky ghost universe where like we get like ghosts who kind of like are critical and are making fun of what the Ghostbusters do. Like I would almost love a show like that kind of like, imagine if you got Mystery. It's not going to be this. I know it's not going to be this, but imagine if you had Mystery Science Theater and it was like three ghosts sat there and watched a bloopers reel of the worst moments of the Ghostbusters trying to bust ghosts and just ripped on them. Like I would watch that. I totally would watch like the Scoleri brothers and, like Slimer just sit there and rip on the Ghostbusters for, even if it was just like a mini web series as a funny concept, but like, I'm really fascinated by this. I was not the pick that I thought that we would get for somebody who's going to run an animated series. And it doesn't really fit alongside like look at what Dark Horse is doing, right? Like Dark Horse's take on Ghostbusters and comic books, which we know there's going to be more of. Like that's something that when David Boer was on the podcast, he confirmed. So we know there's going to be more of those. The style they've chosen is sort of this more like basic, almost like childlike appeal to comic books. I'm really fascinated to know, like, where is this Netflix series going to go? Like, does it lean more into the vein of something like Heavy Metal? Another animated series and animated property that Ivan has lineage and connection to like many, many years ago, and it was sort of like countercultural in its approach. So I don't know. I'm excited about that. That to me made me more excited about the animated series than I really was before, because I looked at the potentiality and went, will I really be into a cartoon? Like I'm in my 40s. Like, I'm probably not going to watch a cartoon for kids and be that jazzed about it. I'll watch it once for the sake of watching it. But to know that they took somebody who's a comedy writer with a critical bent and make that somebody who's going to run the show really scratches an itch for me. Well, I know when I go to Horror Nights, which hopefully is going to happen, I hope I'm going to get there in Hollywood, that I'm going to try and probably not eat that hot dog because I don't think it's really plant-based, but I do intend to try that weird Bugles covered mint cheesecake, even though I don't know if
Hollywood got that one. I don't think they're getting that one.
Oh, maybe they didn't.
They released a menu, and I think it's just the Slimer, or not the Slimer, sorry, the mini puffed s'more. And then obviously they're probably gonna have like the prepackaged treats and everything too. But yeah, it sounds like their menu's a little lesser.
Oh, you mean over at Budget Universal Studios in Hollywood? We're going to get that 9-foot inflatable firehouse as opposed to an actual house too. I mean, is that a thing that's happening?
You guys do have like a Texas Chainsaw House, and it has like Leatherface's barbecue. And as a Texas Chainsaw guy, I mean, with Ghostbusters there too, that's a big selling point. Like I'd be willing to forgo the Garaka and Slimer corn dogs because, you know, I want a big hunk of Leatherface meat. Which, by the way, let me state that I just found out, and apparently this has happened for years, but Bugles are not available in Canada.
Wow.
That's a crime. Yeah. That's a crime.
I never liked them at all until I realized they're going to be used for a Garaka tie-in. And then immediately I needed to buy a bag of Bugles. And then I realized that they've been like outlawed in Canada for a couple years.
Why?
I suggested that no one in the United States has bought them since my dead grandmother died. So she used to buy them religiously all the time, but
I'm pretty sure you can still get them. They're around. I think I've bought them the past few years.
No, they're definitely available. Like, I mean, for frig's sake, Universal Orlando's using them for Garaka corn dogs. Obviously, they're around. But yeah, they're just not up here in Canada. So I was totally bummed after that. Yeah, more reason for me to make the trek down to Orlando.
Well, will you do that though?
Not for Bugles. Maybe for a Halloween Horror Night house. I don't know, but you know, not for Bugles.
It looks like they went all out from what I'm seeing online. Seen a couple walkthroughs of it actually, and it looks impressive.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid like talking too much about what's in it because I know there's some people who listen to the podcast who are actually try to avoid Universal spoilers before they go. Like I know our good friend Eric Christensen is totally going and is like planning on going as a special occasion for family. So I don't want to spoil that for him. And I know our good friend from the podcast, JD Raymer, has been avoiding some Universal spoilers. So I don't want to say what happens, but if there are videos out there that show you, and it looks pretty cool. Like I've watched it and they've done a pretty good job, it seems, at like recreating some pretty awesome stuff from across the 40 years of Ghostbusters, which I think is really great. Like it's Frozen Empire for sure, but there's also things throughout that display that, you know, and that interactive exhibit that harken back to other things from Ghostbusters that we've loved for many years, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, all those set pieces are really impressive and all the stuff that they built and all the stuff, pretty much almost every real scene from Frozen Empire they've recreated and it all looks awesome.
And it's definitely a much different vibe, you know, obviously us watching a video on YouTube and actually being there because, you know, you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing the camera pan up and you're seeing, you know, the parts of the set that aren't actually the set. You're seeing the rooftop that, you know, is of the building that's above them and everything. So you're seeing like all these like areas, you're seeing the exit signs more than you would rather than actually being there and getting caught up in the smoke effects and the lights and the sounds and all the chaos and like turning your head and coming face to face with a 40-year-old iconic ghost from the original Ghostbusters film. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty intense, pretty insane. And they really did use the Frozen Empire, just the whole death chill, Garaka, all that so well in this. I mean, it's not really a secret, you know, a lot of the official photos have shown the firehouse with a nice like cool chill effect, the icing effect. Just like it was in the movie, using a screen for that, and it just looks like it looks top notch.
It looks like there's a lot of fog, it looks like there's like almost snow machines being used in a lot of parts of it, and I mean, kind of spoiler, but the recreation of the Manhattan Adventure Society part with everybody frozen in that room, that was really, they recreated that amazing, and that was really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine for us to say that if it was in Frozen Empire, you're probably going to see it inside the Frozen Empire house. I don't feel like it's a spoiler to be like, hey, the Frozen Empire themed house has Frozen Empire stuff in it. What do you know? It's not Garaka in the firehouse. Instead, it's Frosty the Snowman. Like it's Vigo.
Yeah, my favorite part of the house, though, is the scene where you actually walk through the Fire Master smoke shop. That's the best.
Is that in there? I must have missed that.
It's not in there.
Damn it.
Just BS. You just told me like you're just telling me everything from the movie was in the house.
Well, they missed that because that would have been sweet. Just like like a frozen corpse flopping around on the ground.
Gotcha.
Head chunks.
I believe that I've talked with both of you about the idea that Garaka approaches finding the Fire Master kind of like finding Sarah Connor in Terminator, right? Like flipping through the phone book. One of my points of fulfillment of the last month, without question, is that the CinemaSins for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire came out, and they did the everything wrong with Frozen Empire in 22 minutes or whatever it was. And when that scene happens in the movie, Jeremy from CinemaSins said, apparently Garaka looks for the Fire Master like it's Sarah Connor. I was like, oh my God. Like I called this. So, that was exciting for me at a Ghostbusters moment, that I feel very validated in identifying that Garaka has the same skills in identifying the Fire Master as the T-1000 or the T-800 does. So yeah, I don't know. That being said, I'm not calling myself the Fire Master anytime soon. That's a bad idea.
It definitely looks like they spent a lot of time and put a lot of effort into the house. It's got a lot of different rooms. It's got a lot of stuff going on. And
the reaction too of like people that have went there so far, like it's so awesome to see like on Facebook and X and Instagram, people rating their houses. And in almost every case I've seen Ghostbusters, like it's not the scariest, but in terms of the atmosphere and people's like enjoyment, they're ranking it high. Like it's right. Among their favorites this time around out of like 10 houses in Orlando. And even with that, like even like, you've got the house, you've got the Lagoon show, you've got the actual parade. Yeah. That is like tying Frozen Empire to the original one, and so many different classic characters and everything. And then on top of that, all this merch, prepackaged food, fresh food made right then and there. They really went all out. Like I remember like back when they did the 35th anniversary one, like when they were there last time, it was big, but it was not anywhere near this big, it seemed.
Yeah. I mean, when they did the 35th anniversary, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
When they did the 35th anniversary, we kind of got a house, right? We got some merchandise. I don't know that there was any specific food.
There was a couple. There was a breakfast sandwich. And then there was a Slimer water dog, I think it was called, where it was like doused in ectoplasm on the top.
They were selling a breakfast sandwich for an event that starts at night. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You chatter. I'm going to do the research right here. I'll come back to you.
Okay. I believe you. You don't have to necessarily research it if you don't want to, but
we need to find it. We need to.
I think that the other thing that you pointed out, though, is like, I don't think there was like an interactive show in 2019. Like there wasn't a drone show that went on, and there wasn't, I don't think parade. They were part of a parade necessarily. Right. So it kind of changes the dynamic a bit.
I work fast. So back in 2019, you could dine on it was called the Slimer's Dirty Water Dog. Which the description reads, for guests so hungry they could devour an entire room service cart full of food. This 1/4-pound hot dog is dripping with green slime. Relax, it's just a cheese sauce and topped with delicious roasted red peppers. So that was the Dirty Water Dog. And then,
why is it called Dirty Water Dog?
I don't know.
It doesn't have anything to do with the actual thing at all.
Oh, I think it's really more that like it's a New York City, like, you're getting it from a hot dog vendor on the corner who's like, he's got that cart out there. He's been out there for like 12 hours or something since like this morning with his fucking soubrettes or whatever. So now he's got that water hasn't been changed. God only knows how long. This is how it is.
So dirty.
That's what makes it taste good. It's the water that makes it good. It's like New York pizza.
It's the water.
It's the water that makes it good.
Up next. And this is a reach. They had and again, this is for 2019. This is not available this year. But in 2019, they had Zool's Countertop Egg Sandwich. And the description on this reads, "This savory snack is something you'd expect to find at your favorite haunted diner." I mean, this would have worked perfect for Frozen Empire. A warm fried egg, juicy turkey sausage, and cheddar cheese are sandwiched in a brioche bun with a chipotle aioli and caramelized onions. I'm trying to get like an attachment here as to why this is Ghostbusters. Every gatekeeper needs a keymaster, so of course it comes with a side of fries. What? Every gatekeeper needs a keymaster. So, like, are they telling me that I need to put the fries inside the bun? Like, what's happening? I'm confused.
You do,
you'll summon Gozer that way. Yeah.
Wait a minute. And it's called Zool's Egg Sandwich. And they're bringing up the gatekeeper keymaster, and they're talking about eggs. What?
Are they referring to when the eggs fried themselves on Dana's countertop?
I mean, okay,
in the
fine.
First movie?
But then I don't know. That was a horrible tie-in. This year's is so much better. That's bad. That's just bad.
Yeah, no, these are way better options. I agree. Like, this is like somebody decided, even with those bugles, as weird as they are, they were like, we got to make it look like ice spikes. Obviously, the movie has ice spikes. So what can we get? Bugles. They work. They're spiky. That'll just turn them upside down. That's great.
Perfect.
And they busted out the glitter. Like they threw some glitter on that thing.
Yeah, the edible glitter. That's important now.
That's fun.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's the point. Is like there's more of a tie-in there, right? Than there certainly is in the 2019 food, which is just like, we made some stuff. Let's figure it out. I'm really excited about the prospect of going to Halloween Horror Nights. I'm hopeful I'll get there. I didn't get to go in 2019, but I would like to go and check out the house. I don't know what we'll get in Hollywood versus what's in Orlando, because everything seems cooler in Orlando. But Jason, what were you saying about this Slimer's Korean hot dog again? Like, what's in this thing?
I mean, the Slimer's Korean hot dog, it's a cheesy delight covered in Fritos, coated in Cheeto powder, and spiced with ghost pepper. And then we've got some sage derby cheese and mozzarella.
I got a conspiracy theory for you.
Okay.
My conspiracy theory is that we now know where all of the Frito-Lay ghost pepper Cheetos went that people couldn't find. They were ground up for this. Because like 3 of the things you just described basically could be fulfilled by just one of those. You could just take a bunch of those stupid ghost pepper Frozen Empire things, which I ate way too many of, even though they were pain in a bag.
Yes.
And you could put them, like, just grind them up and put them on snacks, and they would be a better seasoning probably than they would in actual snack food. Because otherwise they were just kind of like, would you like to subject someone to a horrifying case of heartburn? Give them these haunted ghost pepper Fritos, these Cheetos. Yes.
Yeah, they were really spicy. They were probably the spiciest, like, just regular, big brand potato chip type thing that I've ever had. For sure.
Yeah.
And I kept them in like a Tupperware thing to keep them fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And like every time I would open it, your eyes would start to water like instantaneously just from getting a whiff.
I ate like 3 of those a day. It was like a fucked up thing I did to myself. It was like, I'm going to get through these because I was given them at the premiere. And I'm not going to save them because I no longer save food for long periods of time for no good purpose whatsoever. So I'm going to eat these and then try them. And I literally rationed them out like 3 or 4 a day. And then they were gone. I was like, I don't know why I did that to myself. But
I kept the bag. I mean, you got Chester Cheetah in a Ghostbuster uniform. You have to.
Yeah. That's like when I purged my closet recently, I ended up saving many of my cereal boxes, but dumping the cereal because I was like, I don't need stale General Mills Ghostbuster cereal that we all agreed basically didn't taste good when we got it. And we tried to rationalize in our brains that it was amazing, even though it really wasn't. It's okay. We can all admit that now. But, like, it's one of those things that I think is funny that we'll keep the wrappers for this stuff because
with that said, okay, with
look, I'm going to get the counterpoint now.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to
Canadian counterpoint coming up.
I'm going to get a little saucy about that a little bit because I think when it comes to that style of cereal, like the Ghostbusters cereal was at heart a monster cereal, right? Like it was like a Count Chocula style. It was little emblems with marshmallow. I mean, that's a lot of cereals, but very much the flavor profile for me, like you could have like slapped some type of like ghost on that thing and it could have been a Ghostbusters tie-in for Monster cereal somehow. You know, you could have just done it that way. And I love a lot of General Mills cereal. I love the Monster cereal, but be honest. I'm going to be totally honest here. This annual release Monster cereal. The hype is the fact that they're on the shelf, and the hype is the fact that, you know, they're out again. And I love Boo Berry more than my own brother. Like I would drive that man to the airport, but I'm not going to sit here and act like any of those Monster cereals are all that good. They're not. Half of the appeal is marketing and what they are. And if you put that Ghostbusters cereal on the same scale as that Monster cereal, it's serviceable. It's very serviceable, Jim.
Barely. Look,
barely, but it's serviceable. I don't even know why I'm ranting about this.
No, look, I appreciate what you're saying, right? Like, it's a
what
good
I'm trying to say is General Mills has fallen off.
Yeah, well, that's that.
Ooh,
yeah,
shots fired.
Yeah. Give the cereal, the Ghostbuster cereal, back to the company that makes dog food.
Ralston. Yeah, okay. That's a great idea.
That's what we need.
You know, but here's the reality is we're going to get in trouble because somebody's going to message us and they're going to tell us how like we're old boomers because we haven't eaten the Carmella Creeper Monster cereal that came out this year that's caramel apple flavored. Which is like the most complicated version of a cereal. Oh, he's going to get the box.
He's going to get it.
He's going to For everybody listening at home, Jason has left the computer. He has taken off his headphones to go vanish so that he can prove that I am 100% wrong about the fact that he hasn't eaten the Carmella Creeper, which now means I'm going to rely on his review of it because I haven't eaten this thing. Yeah, we're still recording. You literally have come back with a box. I just said you were going to
right now.
Wow. Oh wow. Okay.
There it is. That's the Canadian box, everyone, that I'm showing you, but you can't because this is an audio podcast. I've not had this. This is the first year. What's her name? Carmella Creeper.
Yeah.
Has been available in Canada. So I'm very excited.
It's the first year it's been available anywhere, I think. I don't think this existed last year.
Wow,
it was in the US.
It was bright green.
It was in the US last year. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
See, that's a Slimer cereal right there. That's what that is.
No milk. All I can smell is caramel and apple.
Raw dog in it. No milk.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I didn't know we were going to turn into a cereal podcast, but it's happening.
Yeah.
General Mills, hook us up.
How many Slimer booties do you scale this cereal?
That's actually, that's really good.
You actually look very happy right now.
You look very pleased.
With your decision to open that bag.
I'm gonna cry. I take it back. General Mills, you've delivered with Carmella Creep.
I'm sold. I'm about to go get me a box.
It's green like Slimer. You get a cutout mask on the back.
Bonus.
Yeah. Okay, I take it all back.
You know what I'm not taking back? That the Ghostbusters cereal that was released for Ghostbusters Afterlife that General Mills put out was weak and was General Mills falling off because what we just saw. We just saw actual good cereal, which means that Ghostbusters Afterlife cereal could have been way better.
Oh, yeah. Carmella Creeps. Okay, I take it all back. My whole argument's now flawed. The Carmella Creeps makes Ghostbusters cereal just horrendous. No longer serviceable. I'm going to throw all my boxes out that are still sealed.
And do you still endorse the dog food company to make your cereal, or are you just you continue to eat this cereal on air,
dude? I am eating cereal that has at least 92 ingredients. Sure, I don't care. Give Ghostbusters cereal to a dog food company. I don't really give a damn. I'll eat it.
All right.
Just put a hologram on the box and I'll be good.
Oh.
Since we've gone completely off the rails at this point, I now have to ask you, you have been, as we've talked about off air, people listening at home may not know this, but in recent weeks, you have become quite the ice cream connoisseur. Like you've become an ice cream maker. Will you put this cereal in an ice cream?
I mean, caramel and apple together, like a caramel apple ice cream, that sounds good. So, I mean, I'd totally be down for that. For those that don't know, I usually get on trends a little late. And back in 2023, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Over the past couple months, I've been hearing all about this Ninja Creami. Okay? And what it does is you freeze something and you put it through this thing and it turns it into ice cream or a sorbet or what have you. And I was like, man, this is all over my like social media feeds. What is this thing? So I started watching videos on it, and people are like, hey, remember back in 2023 when this was everywhere on TikTok? So like, I'm totally a year behind. I just found out about this thing. But yeah, I've been making like tons of ice cream, regular stuff, some craziness. Of course, I'm planning some Ghostbuster themed treats. Maybe, I mean, if I can get some bugles, maybe I can do like a Garaka one. I don't know. But yeah, I'm becoming kind of a connoisseur of sorts when it comes to ice cream.
I'm going to mail you a book. There's a great ice cream book I have that is a book from the Cool House, which is and they now make a chain. They now make like ice cream sandwiches you could buy at Whole Foods, but they started out as an ice cream truck that made cookie-based sandwiches with like things like whiskey and vanilla ice cream that goes on Lucky Charms based cookies. Like, and they would go together, like, and so it's like, like Bailey's and whiskey and Lucky Charms, like all together in an ice cream and on cookies. It was great. But yeah, you gotta get this book. This book is solid. It's a really good ice cream book. I highly recommend it.
This is the best Ghostbusters podcast.
It's the best ever. It's the best ever.
But if you want to take it back to Ghostbusters, I'm like right now in my mind, I'm thinking about those Slimer Key Lime Slime Twinkies.
Those were so good. Those were so good. Oh man.
I'm thinking about like doing ice cream where the base, you take like 2 or 3 Twinkies and you blend that up with like some milk, some nice fat milk, and you get some key lime in there. And we just do like a key lime slime ice cream.
Yes.
But then we mix in, because, Slimer, he eats Cheetos in the new movie. So now he's forever linked to Cheetos, and Ghostbuster fans have to eat Cheetos because Slimer ate them. we mix in some Cheetos into that. And then we top it with Cheetos, but not just any Cheetos Flamin' Hot Lime, because you got the key lime and then you got the lime Cheetos. It's a marriage. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be horrible. Bad.
I'm sold.
I'm for it. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. It's a great idea. If you continue though with doing the like, it was in Ghostbusters, so it goes in ice cream, you might end up with some weird combinations like Nestle's Crunch Bars and Cheez-Its like in the same ice cream, which I don't think anybody should have.
It's just going to be like an offshoot. I feel like I'm going to I'll make a couple of videos of like homemade Ghostbusters themed ice cream. And then like those videos are going to take off. And I just like side railed directly hard into just making Ninja Creami videos. And that's Ghostbusters news goes to the wayside. Now it's like ninjacreaminews.com.
Oh, I really want this.
Yeah, there's a new 0% milk out there that makes your liter tub only 120 calories. It's amazing. You should try it. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Ghostbusters.
You know what I really want is for people to start suggesting to you different flavors of Ghostbusters themed ice cream that you need to then make videos of. Like you can just do it as a recurring series. So they could be Slimer's hot dog water ice cream.
Every week I get 40 just for Ecto Cooler. It's just like, look into my library of videos. That was like the first one. Come on. I already made Ecto Cooler ice cream by like an old, it was like archaic and it was just like a lot of cream and putting it in the freezer. But I did that back in like 2016 when they brought back Ecto Cooler.
But now you have to do it again with the Ninja Creami, obviously. So like this, there's no question about this. It needs to be done.
I'll get a brand endorsement deal with Ninja.
You do the ice cream gig. I'll keep doing the pizza and bread gig, or I'll get back to it. Tony, what are you going to start making other than toys? What food is your food?
No. He still does toys. And then we release like stuff at like in the Walmart freezer aisle. And it's like ice cream, pizza, and toys together at last.
Oh shit. Yeah. That's right. He's the You're the pack-in. Holy shit.
Make the treat in the cereal box. I can do that.
That's right.
There you go.
This works.
Cracker Jacks.
Oh my god.
Pep the pepperoni pizza monster, like a cool figure that comes with that.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're ready to start a company and then get shut down by Sony Legal. One thing I'll say is that if you make ice cream, I will eat it within reason. Like if you put something really weird in it, I might not. If you decide that I have to eat like, I don't know, sewer remnants and an ice cream, then I'm not eating it. But that'll ruin your Ninja Creami, so you shouldn't do that anyway.
This thing, like you can just freeze like fruits. You can buy like a can of fruit. I don't know, like whatever fruit.
Peaches.
Peaches? Fine. I'm trying to free. What do they call when all the fruits together? What's that? When there's
Fruit
like a
by
bunch
the
of
foot?
Fruit cocktail.
No, fruit cocktail. Tony knows. He's on the right page. He's thinking healthy. Jim's over here talking about fruit roll-ups again with like 90 some ingredients.
That's right.
You buy a fruit cocktail and you just put it in like the tub and you freeze it. Then you put it in the machine and you have sorbet. It's that easy. So like I'm starting to think like, what if I just do that, but like I use corn? You know, like a corn sorbet. What? Will it sorbet? I don't know.
Will it sorbet?
We're gonna find out today.
You're gonna just go get like asparagus and just be like, that's it. We're throwing it in here and making asparagus sorbet.
This already sounds like a better YouTube channel than Ghostbusters News. I'm already mentally there. Like, will it sorbet? So good.
Will it creamy?
Will it creamy? and then if it does, like I could like a lorely like saucily say it creams.
It totally creams.
Oh God. You know,
5 Slimer cheeks out of 5. It's creamy.
I want to suggest that the crossover episode of this, you know, where you merge your two platforms together, has to be one where you bring in Crystal Head vodka. Like that's how you create the connection between the two somehow, is just that's the moment. So
I do have a screwdriver sorbet like written that I'm doing that. So like I'm totally going to be doing like an orange juice, like an orange sorbet with Crystal Head. Totally.
You're going to do it. You have to do an
That sounds
Ecto Cooler
delicious.
episode for real. Like you've got to do this for real. I'm begging you to do it. So, and I'm going to suggest a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man ice cream that has like melted marshmallows in it and maybe some like burnt chunks of building. Maybe not that. Maybe like graham crackers that have been roasted, maybe a little bit in the oven. Like that's
I've got I've got the official like mini puff protein powder. We could throw some of that in there. I can make it healthy. We're gonna go to the gym.
Oh God!
Oh man! Oh, you know what? I could actually buy the energy drinks.
Oh
that
yeah,
HasLabs did. I could just freeze those and sorbet those up too.
Ninja Creami.
That's Ghostbuster sorbet in a can.
It's
already ready.
That's already there you go. You're just finding more reasons for people to buy EHP Labs things, I think, too. So congratulations. This is
I have no investment in that company. I don't own any stock. I own stock.
You're going to have an affiliate link for Ninja Creamies coming up soon.
I mean, if you buy them through Amazon, I can get you a link in like 2 minutes. Oh my God, I'm so going to do that. Those things are pricey too. My income would be so well on that. Oh.
We've completely lost the plot and I love it. And by that token, I want to suggest to you that when you go down this Ninja Creami rabbit hole, that the way for you to continue to link it to Ghostbusters News is that you need to sell a Ghostbusters version of the Ninja Creami through your website that has caution stripe on it and shit. You just need to like repaint the fuckers to look like ghost traps and add some LEDs. And then be like, it's a Ghost Creami.
Screw on a big clippered valve somewhere. Be just fine.
Yeah.
A couple exposed wires.
I'll write some interesting copy for you about how you need to insert the ectoplasmic entities into your Ninja Creami in order to create frozen desserts, and you can tie it into Frozen Empire. Like, this is a great idea. Like, we're not going to get sued by anybody, I assure you.
But be careful. Important safety tip. Don't cross the creams.
Oh, shit. But wait, what if that is the idea? What if that's the marketing pitch for this? Is
it ends up saving the world. It's crossing the stream, so it ends up being it's a radical idea.
Yeah, so like that's on the poster.
Cross the cream.
Cross the creams.
Now with the Ninja Creami, you too can cross the creams.
But you said crossing the creams was bad. You're going to endanger us.
There's a very slight chance that we might have a delicious dessert.
Let me just, for people that are listening to this,
if you
I
still
said that
are.
I was like Well, yeah, nobody's listening to this. Let's be honest.
What are you trying to say? I take that personally.
No. You know what you got me into. You went down a Ninja Creami pathway, and you got me spouting about this for like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't believe somebody wants to listen to me talk about the Ninja Creami for 10 minutes.
I do.
Well, fine. You're an interesting individual. Okay. What I love is the fact that I discovered this thing like a year late, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are listening to this and you are discovering the Ninja Creami from me yapping about it, from me talking about it, just know it makes really good, high quality ice cream. And be sure to check out Ghostbusters on YouTube very soon for some type of recipe. And
please
click that affiliate link and buy yourself a Ninja Creami.
All right, I'm gonna make you do that again because you told them to go check out Ghostbusters on YouTube and forgot to say news.
Oh no, it's fine. Eric Reich's going to be making the videos. He'll be making those. It's great.
Well, one thing I want to introduce to the podcast beginning this week is what I'm sort of not really sure what I'm going to call it yet, but it's a bit of a gratitude segment. I want to sort of take a time each week to sort of acknowledge the things that I'm glad about and we have gratitude for. And I want to invite other people to do this by emailing into extraplasmpodcast@gmail.com or DMing me at extraplasm or, however you reach me via the internet. You can find ways. Plenty of you do. But it would be cool, I think, to start doing this thing where we kind of express what we're grateful for each week and like what we're glad to have about Ghostbusters. And I think we've covered what we're excited about. So eventually, like maybe this will be a segment that has a bumper. So if you had to pick something this week, like that you're really grateful for in the Ghostbusters fandom, like what would it be? Like what's the thing that you'd say this week you're grateful for in the Ghostbusters fandom?
I think for me, it's seeing the reaction coming out of Halloween Horror Nights. The fact that Frozen Empire, like there was a lot of talk about the success or lack thereof of that film, like when it came to going against the budget. And obviously it's seen some great success on home video, digital, Netflix, so on and so forth. The film has had a lot of eyes on it, but to see the franchise resonate as much as it has at Halloween Horror Nights and see so many people like loving the house and, grabbing the merchandise and making a big deal out of it and seeing like a lot of the more hardcore theme park followers, like the guys out there that have like a massive following within the Universal and just theme park community at large, fixating so much on Ghostbusters and seeing that the majority of the traffic, the majority of the eyes on their posts is coming from Ghostbusters. Just seeing the franchise still resonate, I think is pretty huge because that shows that there is that interest still in the franchise, still in the brand, despite whatever, however many movie tickets were sold when it came to Frozen Empire. And, there's definitely still life in Ghostbusters going forward. Again, Universal, it's not nearly as big, I guess you could say, in terms of, widespread as a feature film, a new film series, what have you there. But just seeing that response, I think there's still a very bright future for Ghostbusters ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think it's really great to see sort of like the continued celebration of Ghostbusters, if that makes sense. Like as people are having those engagements with horror nights and whatnot and coming back from getting excited, like it's cool to have that feeling that like, hey, we're involved in something as a fandom and it's positive. And I think that existed going into Frozen Empire too, but I think that there is these lulls, like Jason, I'm sure you're familiar with this as somebody who's covered Ghostbusters as long as you have, where like there are periods where nothing is going on, and so to have like this sort of intense appreciation of what we're doing, or what they're doing over at Universal, I think is really cool. It's really nice to see.
There's some seasons I stock up on steak, others I stock up on bologna sandwiches. So, it comes and goes when it comes to the success of Ghostbusters. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. Coming to you soon. Bologna creamy. No, not really. Tony, what do you think?
Kind of along the same lines as like seeing the fans excited and stuff is just this upcoming Halloween season. I always feel like Ghostbusters and Halloween kind of go hand in hand. And now this year with it being tied into the release of the movie and this upcoming Halloween season and the how accessible Halloween costumes are for everybody nowadays, that everybody's always loved a Ghostbuster on Halloween. And now that it gets not just the hardcore fans, but you get those everyday people and recognize you and how much fun it is to be a Ghostbuster on Halloween. So I'm looking forward to this Halloween season with Ghostbusters being everywhere and at the forefront, like it should be every year, but with it being in the same time as Frozen Empire and it being on Netflix and everybody seems to be still watching that I think it's going to be a fun Halloween season.
I agree that Halloween, sort of is a great time that we all get to experience together and that Ghostbusters kind of gets to reemerge doing it. It's one of those things where, most of the year, most of us are not sitting around being like, hey, when am I putting on my flight suit? Unless we're deeply involved in Ghostbusters. Whereas like Halloween is the time where the normal people are even like, let's put on some suits and do things and get involved in what we're doing even more. So I'm excited about it. I think Horror Nights is definitely, added to that level of excitement. And I think it's going to be a cool Halloween season. I think you're right. That being said, I probably won't be doing as much of like decorating my house this year and going as wild as I usually do, given things that are going on here and my need to travel and stuff. And so in some ways, like my gratitude thing will be kind of weird, but I'm really grateful for the fact that we get to look forward to more Ghostbusters media coming. One of the things we didn't talk about at all was like Spirits Unleashed. We have another DLC coming soon that I'm excited about, which is like a context that I've really I really have enjoyed Ghostbusters that way. Every week I get to play with people I like hanging out with and stuff. And so to know that that's coming and to know the cartoon is coming is really great. And to sort of begin to see those pieces of the cartoon starting to take even the smallest shapes of like knowing who a showrunner is, it gives me a lot of hope about what comes next. This is going to sound weird, but I've long said that the race to Afterlife that then took forever and was not really a race and became a long drawn out kind of wait to get there, for me was kind of like crossing a threshold and crossing a finish line on things that were really hard, on the pandemic, etc. And in some ways, like looking forward to another Ghostbusters project right now is in some ways helping to keep me motivated on crossing another finish line, of continuing to stay what we're doing. And it's part of why I wanted to do what we did tonight, sort of get together and just kind of talk about the things that we've been excited about over the last month and that we're really jazzed about. So I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah. I agree. It's exciting to actually, with such a drought and a struggle it was to actually get Afterlife and to know that it's continuing is exciting.
Yeah, and I think also it kind of puts... It's weird to actually have Ghostbusters now as a property that is being acknowledged so fondly, it seems like, by Sony and, Columbia and all that, because there was so many years where there was nothing. There was that big gap between Extreme Ghostbusters and the 2009 game, and really the only thing in between was like some NECA action figures.
Right.
And an Ecto-1 release, I forget the company that made it, but it was like, there was nothing. There was like practically over a 10-year spell that outside of one series release of figures, there was really nothing then. And then in 2009, we got Mattel action figures, and it just seemed like the floodgates, they were kind of opening a little bit. And then, that led into 2016 and kind of so on and so forth there with Afterlife and now Frozen Empire. And it's so weird to me that we are that, because I remember like the emotion I was feeling going into Afterlife. And despite the way that, a lot of us got to watch Frozen Empire at the premiere, it felt consumable.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really feel like as big as Afterlife because of obviously how long we waited.
Right.
And it's so weird to have Ghostbusters in that, like to feel like that because it never really has. And with a new animated series on the go and with all this new merchandise and hopefully maybe a green light of another, full-length live action film. I mean, as far as we know, there's still there's still an animated full-length film still in the works, apparently, maybe, possibly. There's been no word on that in the past little while. But yeah, it's just weird that the franchise has went so dead to being so active now. And yeah, it's the 40th, but hopefully, come year 41, we'll be talking about all the new stuff and everything happening outside of that new Netflix series.
Oh, agreed. And I think that, that's kind of funny you said that, like come year 41, because I think that part of my worry was coming off Frozen Empire that we go, okay, well, what happens next? Right? Like if we don't get to the next piece of media next, like what is it? What are we all staying active for? you know, and I think that like to know that cartoon is coming on the horizon and that there's now principal people being put in a place to actually create it gives me that hope of getting there, you know. But I think you're right too, that like there's so much content being created. I've said this before, like there's no better time to be a Ghostbusters fan than right now, because there's probably more in production now than there was at any other point in the history of Ghostbusters, like all at once. So, and I don't know, we'll see. I would love to see another video game. Like I think that, you know, we know that Spirits Unleashed will probably begin to sunset at the end of the year after the DLC comes out. It'll be around, probably still online, but there won't be a lot of new development for it and content. And so I'm hopeful that like we can continue to sort of see the universe expand beyond just, you know, an animated series. Like, yes, I want another movie, but my big hope, like if there's a takeaway of what I want still, since the last time we talked about it, I can't stop thinking about how much I want a Netflix television show. Like I just want, even if it's 10 episodes a season, like I want a Netflix television show of Ghostbusters now. It's what I want even more than another movie for whatever reason. So I don't know. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I don't know. You're all crossing your fingers, but you're not doing it verbally, so no one at home can tell.
Streams crossed.
Yes.
Creams crossed.
No, streams, not cream. No, don't be crossing the creams.
No, I mean, it lends perfectly to that Ghost of the Week, X-Files, Supernatural-esque type of show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would totally
and then
down
you
for
factor
that.
in like the offshoots of like, you know, like a CSI Law and Order thing where then you can have your Ghostbusters, I don't know, Chicago.
Yep.
Ghostbusters Tokyo. I don't know, just random places. But they could be all over the world. And I would love to see like a Ghostbusters UK and have like Lars over there as his own star.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Like it would be kind of cool to have like a UK offshoot like that where he goes back and he's like, this is what I've learned at the lab. Now I run my own shop. We drive on the other side of our cars and on the other side of the road. I don't know why we would say that.
There's so much fun, like kind of unexplored potential stuff that's been crammed into the movies in a montage or like in Frozen Empire with them just, we got a call and they bust out the firehouse and you don't get to, I'd love to just see this like small contained one little ghost busts in a house, apartment, museum, just a bust. Doesn't have to be
just with like that small overarching narrative like thrown in.
Yeah.
Just kind of that connects everything together, but this is the Ghost of the Week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be a world destroying god or a demon or something crazy, but you know, just a Slimer haunting a hotel. Let's see that bust. You know,
it's Harold.
Just a naked little troll.
Harold
like
in the
hanging
watch
out at a nightclub at night. You know, yeah. Party.
I also, just real quick before we wrap up, I think it's kind of funny that was where they found their Harold Ramis moment for Frozen Empire. They were like, what should we name the guy who possesses the ghost? Or possesses the watch, rather.
It makes a watch beep.
Yeah, Harold. And they were like, he's not actually here. Oh, okay, cool. Got it. Thanks for reminding us. I appreciate that. Like, it's kind of weird they chose that name. But I am very grateful also, I will say, for the two of you. You have contributed a lot to this podcast, and it's been 2 years of podcasting at this point. Like, literally since Jason, since you and I talked last, and Tony, since you and I talked last, the 2-year anniversary happened. We didn't celebrate it in any meaningful way. And I keep saying that maybe I'll push it off to like, we had 100 episodes, which really only buys me 4 more to figure out some momentous thing we're supposed to do. So instead, we just got together and talked about the things we like for a really long time. And I really like both of you. And I don't get to talk about that enough in a context that makes a lot of sense. Because it'd be really weird if I did a podcast that was called Jason and Tony Are Awesome. And I just put it out every week, right? It's just, that was all I did, was talk about how I like the two of you. But I do really appreciate everything that you add to Extraplasm, because you do add a lot to the show and you do it regularly. And I want to thank you for it. Anything else that you want to share this week before we wrap things up?
Well, congratulations on 2-year anniversary and the upcoming 100th episode. And thanks for having us on. At least I can speak for myself. You've always helped promote all the fun stuff that I try to do and have been doing, me and Brendan, and we both really appreciate all the support you've given us. And just, I think I said every time I've been on the show, which I've lost count of, but I'm just a fan, and it's just fun to be here and fun to talk with you.
Thank you. I'm always glad you're here. So thank you.
Yeah, share the same sentiments there as Tony. Congratulations on the 200. Always enjoy coming on and getting the feedback, hearing everybody.
Wait, the 200?
Yeah,
the 200.
What? Yeah, I don't know.
2 years and 100 episodes, but not the 200.
I'm so jazzed up on Carmella Creeper cereal.
I've
been
jacked
eating
up
this
on
off
cereal.
camera.
I don't mean to interrupt your nice comments and all, but I do want to make sure that you haven't slipped into the future while we were sitting here.
He's all jacked up on cereal.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm crossing the creams. I'm eating the cereal. Woo. Yeah. Thank you for the 100th. What are we doing? 100 episodes? That's not happened yet. What are we doing?
That hasn't even happened yet. We're at the
2 years.
Coming up, baby.
I was thanking you.
You're welcome.
Anytime.
I'm going to leave that in exactly as it is.
Good night. Be sure to check out Phantasm Shop, and there's new Crypt Creepers coming.
Eventually, yeah, we're taking it easy, catching up on orders.
They're coming, Tony. I didn't say they're out now. I said they're coming. Eventually.
There's still some there's some of the Wave 1 still available in the shop, and we'll have some new stuff coming out soon. We're just taking it easy, enjoying the last few days of summer and catching up on orders. But yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up.
But I really do appreciate the amount of time the two of you put into helping out with Extraplasm and being available to offer up your commentary and your insights, because the two of you put up with my crazy schedule being on the West Coast, and I thank you so much for it. I would like to invite you both back, of course, to come back to Extraplasm anytime you like, because you're both fantastic. And everybody out there, if you don't go to Ghostbusters News regularly, you should. There's something wrong with you if you don't. If you listen to this show and for some reason you just avoid that website, because like, why would you do that? That's where you're going to find out stuff before I tell you. If you haven't gone to Phantasm Shop since the renovation, if we'll put it, on Phantasm, go over there, check out what's available. There's a lot of really cool stuff. And these are two folks who I'm very grateful for on a regular basis and who I hope that you will go and support. Final words, anything? Send-offs, advice, proclamations of ice cream flavors that are coming?
The Ice Cream Sconeri Brothers.
Oh, I like that. Sconeri.
I don't know.
Okay,
that's it.
I want this now. That's a thing. It has to be like some sort of like split flavored like pint down the middle, right? So it's like twins, like,
yeah.
But it's got to have cones in it.
Vigo the Carpathian.
That's a good one.
I just want containment unit crunch. That's mine. It's kind of lame, but you know, it's not quite as punny, but it works. And it can come in a tub that is red and has the containment unit aperture on the front of it. It'd be great. Yeah. We'll just get the guy who made the Ecto Collection boxes. Who's that? We'll find a Hasbro guy. Get him in on this. It's fine. We're not going to get sued, I promise. We're going to make all this Ghostbusters themed ice cream. Jason's going to make it first. We're going to taste it. Nobody's going to get sued, I promise.
We're so off the rails.
Yes, we are. But I'm glad that we are, because it's been a lot of fun to talk with both of you. And it always is. So everybody out there, if you're not going and supporting these folks, go please do it. Thank you so much to both of you for coming on the show this week. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Happy 200th episode, Jim.
That about wraps things up for Extraplasm this week. I want to say one final thank you to Tony and Jason for coming on the show and engaging me in a fun conversation about all the things we're excited about and grateful for within the realm of Ghostbusters as we sort of wrap up the 40th anniversary year of the franchise and, you know, sort of head into Q4. It was really great to catch up with them and to have a chance to unpack a lot of what I've been thinking about alone, but didn't get a chance to talk about with other people. So it's always great to talk with Tony and with Jason, and I hope we have them on again soon to share more fun conversations with you. Beyond that, I want to say thank you to Brendan Pearce at Badoochi Studios, who's provides our logo and the visual identity for the podcast. as well as vaporwave artist MAGNAVOX, whose version of Ghostbusters serves as our theme song each week. And of course, I need to say thank you to you for tuning in, for listening, for checking out the podcast each week, for being part of a community, for letting me know about what's going on. Along those lines, I'm hopeful that you will reach out and let me know more about the things that you are grateful for in this community, or that you want to hear shouted out on a podcast, because it's positive stuff within our fandom and our fan community. So don't be a stranger about those things. I really do want to make a regular segment where we start to talk about this and begin to sort of shine a light each week on something that's positive within our fan community. And if you've got something to share along those lines, please let me know. Reach out via email at extraplasmpodcast@gmail.com. If you're getting in my direct messages on Instagram, Extraplasm, on X, Extraplasm, on Facebook, Extraplasm Podcast. Be well, be healthy, have a great rest of your week. And as Ernie Hudson reminds us every single episode,
Try to have fun and always keep on busting. Take care.